All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Where did I put everything? All right, so today we're going to be doing PC Tips 101, guys. And we're going to be doing a live Q&A. I got some stuff to go over, like just a new generation of PCs. What do you have to look for if you're building or upgrading your PC in general? That's going to be huge. Basic PC tips to just increase your FPS in general and more. We could even go into, we could even go into internet if you guys want to, streaming quality settings if you guys want to. We could go into whatever you guys feel like is best. Just let me know what you guys want to hear here. While I get everything set up, guys, I'm just going to put on a little music just so you guys can enjoy. But if you have any questions, you can either join the Discord on the questions channel and we could just do a live Q&A and I could just answer your question right there. Or what we can do is basically you just put your question in the chat and I'll answer your question as well. You could just do ! Discord and you can get into the Discord there. But yeah, this is going to be fun. Just give me 1 second, guys. BCLK OC. Oh, we could go through that. How you guys doing, chat? Is the music too loud? Let me just know. Let me know. Let me write that one down. Oh no. Discord link, I got you. Yo, what's good, Pody? We're gonna start in 1 minute here, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, perfect. We got everything done. All right, cool. So what you guys are gonna do is just basically go over all of your questions here. I have a few things that I wanted to go over first, just to make sure that you guys are good. Because we just want to get, like, all of us probably just wants to get the best out of our setups, and that's just the #1 goal, right? So I have a few things to go over, like basically how to build a PC, like how are you gonna spec it out and stuff like that. Like when you're making upgrades, like what do you do like when you make upgrades? How do you know what to upgrade and stuff? We're gonna go over that. Basically we're gonna go over just like the general like tip of the iceberg with the new gen PCs and what you guys have to know of like making or just getting just the best performance in general there. We're gonna go over RAM knowledge, motherboards, and what you have to look for there. Basically everything that you could think of. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know before we start. And basically what you have to look out for in the PC industry too. So let me know if you guys have any questions before you start. Let's see here. What do you think is the best NVIDIA driver? 522.25. The reason 522.25, so let's just write it down. Currently, it is 522.25. The reason why this is the best driver is because, well, there's a few reasons. Number one, they removed all like the LHR limited hash rate um, from all cards. So that's a really good thing. So like your memory's not like limited, or anything that they did to limit the power or anything like that is not limited anymore. And number two, it is supposed to improve the performance of the GPU or the PC by decreasing the CPU overhead of your GPU. So this is a known thing. So basically, like Nvidia has a known thing with just causing CPU overhead in general. This could be looked at like if you go into Warzone or anything like that. Warzone has like Ryzen or just Radeon cards have more frames in general. Average frames, not 0.1% lows. Average frames in general, because Nvidia has or had that CPU overhead on top of it. So what is CPU overhead? That just means that the GPU needs the CPU to do stuff. Just like a car, an engine, and basically a transmission, it needed to rely on the transmission a lot in order to be able to function well. Now they improved that. So now you don't have to rely on that transmission as much for your engine to function well. It's going to function just as good as what it was beforehand when it was relying on that transmission. So if you think of cars, it's kind of the same thing, where you don't have to rely on your CPU as much as before, which is really good. So that's two major changes that they made, especially for the 4090 and like the 4080 coming up and stuff. But also the all NVIDIA cards, I believe, improved from it, especially the NVIDIA 30 series. So if you have a 3070, 3060, 3080 and stuff, basically you should get a bump from this driver. Now, a lot of people are talking about how they're basically using a lot of their like GPU usage and stuff like that. What I would say is, like, if you're not having any issues, like if you're not like lagging out a game, getting dev errors and stuff like that, then you should be fine. Like that shouldn't be a major deal. As long as like you're not having any issues. Like your GPU is should be working like as a your GPU should be working like at like a high capacity, right? If you're playing like 1440p or something. So this like there's nothing wrong with a higher GPU usage, as long as you're getting more FPS or more performance out of that in general. If you're not getting that more FPS, more performance out of that, if you're getting any errors, just revert back to the other drivers and remember to always clean install your driver with DDU here. So as long as like you follow those two things, you should be good, guys. But yeah, this new NVIDIA driver is really good. Like I called it the other day and stuff like that with a few friends, and yeah, it turned out really good. And I barely post to update drivers. So if I'm saying that it's good, you need to update for sure, for sure. It's not gonna work for every PC, but it should work with most PCs. Most people should see the difference. So let's see. Yes, LHR is limited hash rate for miners. So what happened was during COVID, where we had like a huge supply chain issue, and on top of that, like all Bitcoin was skyrocketing, Ethereum was still getting basically mined by GPUs and stuff instead of being proof of stake, I believe. Basically, miners were just eating up the entire like GPU industry here. So what was happening is no gamers could have got graphics cards, and Nvidia had to put a hold on this by introducing limited hash rate. And it looks like limited hash rate had something to do with decreasing your performance on your card in general, like with these new drivers. Plus, number two is basically it stopped the miners from buying like some of these cards. So it definitely decreased like the intensity of the situation. So basically, that's why a limited hash rate was introduced for miners, but they removed it because it's not a huge thing anymore. So it's very good, and it should increase your performance. Like if you don't have that. Let's see here. How can I get in the PC industry? Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question. So we could go through that. So um, let me see. So how can I get in the PC industry? We could go through that one for sure. That's an interesting one. The reason the question I have for you, Sand, is why do you want to get into the PC industry? Like, what for? Why this industry out of every industry, right? And we're gonna elaborate more on this, but I'm just gonna scroll through just to see if we have any more like high quality questions, and then I'm gonna come back and like explain all this stuff. Um, have you seen people bring up issues with task managers showing GPU usage at 100% while idle with latest driver update? Yes, I'm actually on the latest driver right now, and I did see that on my PC. However, everything's functioning perfectly fine for me. If I see any issues or anything with it, I'll let you guys know. But you shouldn't be looking at just your GPU usage rate, guys. It should be, is your frames improving? Is your overall PC faster? Like, is anything glitching or anything like that? Like, if the GPU usage is higher, that's perfectly fine. You want to use your GPU as much as possible. That's why you bought it. It shouldn't always be like under like 80% and stuff like that. You want to use your GPU to its maximal capabilities. So this might be what I'm guessing. I didn't test it yet. I recently just downloaded it. What I'm guessing this is basically taking off that load that was on your CPU before that was caused by your GPU. So now basically everything's on your GPU and it's trying to render and do everything by itself, which is going to increase the utilization a little bit, which is perfectly fine if it's better or faster. Let's see here. What's good, PNB Rock? Oh, PNB Rock. Um, let's see here. How can I download that driver? So the way you download NVIDIA drivers is you basically go to NVIDIA driver. You just type that in, NVIDIA driver download. Then you could just type in whatever your card is. So I have a 3070 GeForce RTX 3070 here. Then I just click search, boom, download this 5.22.25, and I just download that. Now, I like doing it the DDU way, which I'll make a video about that tomorrow, guys. Remind me that I have to make a DDU video of how to correctly install your GPU drivers. So I'll make that video tomorrow just so you guys could have that, just so you guys could be good. So anytime you're downloading a driver, you can just watch that video and you should be good to go. I saw your YouTube video about RAM. Oh, that's a great one. We're going to get a little bit more technical into that today, Diego. Let's see here. How can I fix FPS and drop latency? So that is a very good question. So we can add to that as well. So his question is, how can I fix FPS and decrease latency? Okay, so we'll answer that one for sure, for sure. And then let me see here. All right, so let's go through this. Do you change the pace and clean the laptop could bump the frames? Yes. So laptops especially. So we don't really show love to our laptop brethrens like at all, guys. So laptops, thermals are huge when it comes to laptops, and thermals are the number one thing that people skip out on PCs and laptops. People don't educate you guys on thermals, and that is very important when it comes to performance. If your PC or if your car is running too hot, if your car is overheating, what happens? It stops or it basically goes into limp mode. The same thing happens to PCs and laptops. So if your PC or your laptop, especially laptops, is overheating, it will basically what we call thermal throttle, which is basically a name for limp mode, just like your car does if it overheats, because it's trying to protect all just the hardware inside of there. That's why like overclocking really isn't that like it isn't that dangerous anymore, because there's so much safety gadgets inside this new tech and stuff, guys, that like you really have to be trying to damage your PC. Like you really have to try. You really have to not know what you're doing to be able to damage your PC in general. So like anytime that you're thinking of replacing the thermals or cleaning out your laptop, definitely do that. That will increase performance. We actually had one of our employees at SenseQuality, right? He basically had a laptop. He brought it in, right? We repadded the thermal. Well, we reapplied the thermal paste in the laptop. We overclocked it like a normal PC, and he was getting like 200 FPS on that laptop, like easily, because it was cooler, and we could have overclocked it higher. So laptops for sure you have to, and your PCs. I understate this when it happens to PCs. You have to check your thermals, guys. Let me say this, and I'll keep saying this. You have a higher chance, probably 100 times the chance, to basically kill your PC or laptop from dust than from overclocking. Dust is the number one danger. It's the number one thing that kills PCs. Dust. So you really, really want to clean your PC every month, clean your laptop every month, just to make sure it's good, right? Of course, you don't have to, like if you don't want to, but like if you want the max performance, you want to. This is a known thing with MacBooks too. A lot of people put their MacBooks in a freezer or something like that. Basically, it's because they get dusty after a while. After they get dusty, the thermals start to increase. After the thermals start to increase, your MacBook gets hot. After your MacBook gets hot, your performance decreases. It's all the same thing. It's just like a car, guys. Literally, they have to stay cool in order to maintain the right amount of performance. It has to stay cool. Let's see. Always repping the boy, coming in clutch too much, and always willing to reply and offer insight. It's the least I could do. Yo, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let's see here. The dark days. I just think there's a convenience of staying on the platform that you're already on. New driver was running at 99% while just on desktop, no games running. So that's fine, guys. A lot of people are freaking out about just the driver running at a higher percentage. But if you think about it, if your GPU usage is higher, that's fine. But is it hurting your performance? Are you getting more performance? Is anything happening to your computer? That's how always I think when it comes to diagnosing PC issues in general. Yes, your GPU might be using more or utilizing more. Like your PC might be utilizing more of your graphics card, right? But if it's not, if it's performing better or if it's just functioning differently, that's perfectly fine as long as you're getting more performance, right? So the percentage or just your usage really doesn't matter, unless like you're gaming and stuff like that, or when your PC needs it, it's there for it. So just the just focusing on PC or GPU usage by itself isn't a great indicator of if your PC is functioning correctly or not. It's more nuanced than that. You got to look at GPU thermals. You got to look at in-game FPS, 0.1% FPS. Is it functioning better? How's the CPU overhead? How did the LHR kind of affect like your GPU before? How was it mitigating it? It's a whole load of stuff that you have to look at, not just GPU usage. Don't freak out about just a higher number, guys. Unless it's like regarding temperature, you want to freak out about temperatures. But other than that, you shouldn't freak out about usage at all. That's perfectly fine. Like OBS is running at 75% like right now, and I'm streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and I'm recording. So this is perfectly fine. And my GPU was also hitting 100% when I first downloaded this driver. So it should be perfectly good, but just in case, I'll do that video of how to correctly install your GPU driver tomorrow, just so you guys can have that. No problem. So let's see. So this guy's asking about an upgrade, so we'll go through that. We'll go through that for sure. Where do we post questions in our in the Discord? So it'll be easier if you just post questions in chat. What I was assuming was if you did want to ask a question live, you could just come in just the questions channel on Discord. I'll hear like the ring when you come in, and basically like you can just ask your question on stream. That way, more people could get help from your question in general. The only thing I ask about doing this, guys, or asking questions is just make sure your question's broad enough where it could help all the gamers in here or all the PC guys in here or all the content creators in here. It can't be too specific. Just for example, two specific question would be, how do I increase my FPS with 11900K and a 2070 Super? Like, what would I do in regards to that, right? Or what would I have to upgrade in regards to that? A better phrase of a question would be this. Basically, how like what's the steps to making like a PC upgrade in general? Like what do you think about first? What's the number one, number two, number three in general for PC upgrades? Like what's your guide on that? So that would be a better question. That's all I ask, guys. So as long as like you're following that, like I'll answer your question, no problem. Uh, Sup man, how's your night? Hazmat, yes, NV Cleaner is the goat, and basically, it's been better. So today was kind of a wild day, guys. I'm sorry if I'm like a little like uh dazed. But basically, like today was a very, very weird day. Like I just woke up and I just saw like a whole bunch of stuff today, and basically, like yeah, it was wild. It was wild in general, but I'm gonna keep doing my thing, guys. I'm gonna keep like providing content for you guys. Nobody's gonna stop that. But yeah, I was like in regards to that video in general, I was wrong, guys. I didn't specify who that video was for, so I was 100% wrong. I would take full accountability for that. And I have to be careful with that in the future because these are very expensive devices, guys. And some people want to take care of their product, and you should be able to like watch any of my videos and know 100% that it's gonna work. So I'm going to make sure we're better than that, and basically let you guys know who the videos for is in the future with our PC tech tips. So that's my fault, guys. I take full responsibility for that for sure. Um, I enjoy working with computers. Honestly, I get excited when I see things work, and I like troubleshooting. I love working with PC parts, and it's satisfying to install parts. So Sandman, do you want to do this for a living? Like, is that what you want to do? You want to start your own business and stuff? Um, but 5900X. Yeah, Jose, your PC is very good. Boom. What about some AMD sauce? Oh, I got some AMD sauce for you guys. I got some AMD sauce for you guys. So I'm gonna scroll through the chat a little bit more, then we're gonna get into everything. Um, so last call to ask any of your questions. Off topic, but typo in title. Good sir, FYI. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. See, you guys always looking out. You guys always looking out. I appreciate you guys. So let me just fix that typo in title real quick. Give me 1 second. Um. There we go. Awesome. Hey, what's good, Patty? Do you have a question? Oh, I guess not. So best way to clean PC and remove dust. We have a video on that, Nova. We have a video on that. Jason Sense did a great vid of trying to overvolt and kill a PC. It took a lot. Yeah, it takes a lot to try to kill a PC. So it's definitely very difficult. Um, Resize bar is recommended to enable in Warzone on or off. I don't believe Warzone uses resize bar, but you should have it enabled. Did I get more? Let's see here. Did I get more from the Ryzen 5900X or the Ryzen 5800X 3D? This is a great question. So the 5800X 3D is a sleeper. So we can get into this. So basically, 5800X 3D. People are slept. Oh my god, this CPU is so good, so good. It's ridiculous. How often do you recommend to clean your PCs? Now, I'm not saying go full like because we all have lives here, guys. So I definitely understand that. So coming from that aspect, I would say just every month, just wipe off your PC every month. Use like make sure you clean it outside, not inside your room. That way the dust doesn't get everywhere again. But you know, like we do all have lives, but just clean your PC every month. It's part of your setup. Like, how is she gonna appreciate your RGB PC if it's dusty? How is she gonna appreciate your RGB lights in your room if like your room's not clean? Like, fellas, we gotta take pride. Like, we gotta take pride. In just like keeping our stuff clean in general, and that's why I've been like trying to work on this week myself. That's why I made that tweet, just because you got to take pride in like everything that you have, and like if you want somebody else to enjoy it, you have to make sure that like your room and stuff like that is clean. That's why people say PC gamers don't get like any or anything like that, or like she's not gonna fall like for your like RGB PC, bro, because usually gamers rooms are dirty. Like that's why. So yeah, that went into like a whole different topic, but basically we got to make sure our stuff is clean. You paid like $2,000 to $5,000. You're telling me you guys paid $2,000 to $5,000 for a PC to not clean it? So basically, like, let's say you had a car, right? And you never took your car to get an oil change, right? What do you think is gonna happen to your car if you never take it to get an oil change? It's gonna go out at like 60,000 miles instead of going out in like 300,000 miles. Same thing with a PC here. You want your PC to last as long as possible, so you have to maintain your PC. How do I remove LHR? It's automatically removed in this new driver 5.22, 522.25. Any tips with the 5800X? Oh yeah, we could definitely get into it. Yo, what's good, Tesla? So for a laptop, just open up, blow it out, and wipe it down. Yes, and replace the thermals in your laptop. Let's see. What about thermal pads on the GPU? Need to change those? Yes, so you should replace your thermal pads on your GPU if you see that your GPU is going over like 85 to 90 degrees Celsius on like Warzone or something like that. If it's a very GPU intensive like benchmark and stuff, then that doesn't really matter. But if your GPU is going over a certain limit, then you should replace the thermal pads on there. Let's see here. Boom. Do you recommend buying a 4080 for 1080p to 40 hertz or a 3080? It depends on your budget, right? So like what kind of FPS do you really want? So the 4080 is going to perform the 4080 12 gigabyte is, well, 4070, it's going to be a 4070 probably, is going to perform like a 3090 Ti. So keep that in mind. So a 4080 12 gigabyte might perform like a 3090 Ti in general. The 4080 16 gigabyte, that's going to perform a little bit better than the 3090 Ti. And the 4090 is going to perform so much better than all of them. So it's like the 4090 is the flagship card this year. Unlike, like I remember when the Nvidia 30 series came out and the 3080 was the flagship and the 3090 didn't really make much of a difference. Well, this year it's like the 4090 is the flagship card and the 4080 is kind of like that card in the background and stuff like that. So I feel like that's what Nvidia is doing this year in general. Let's see here. I just watched your video. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yo, what's good, Green Apple? What's good, Eli? Whoa, there's a lot of people in the chat here. Holy. I'm hitting 100 degrees in OCCT. If you're hitting that in OCCT, you gotta test it in game. OCCT lets you know if it's unstable or not. 100 degrees is a lot, but it depends what you're doing on OCCT. You could be doing some really intensive stuff on there. Let's see. But you always want it like around 80 to 85. That's like our requirements. Let's see here. Can you answer to my chat? Alder Lake. I'm just going through these last set of questions here. There's a lot of questions. Wow. I'm getting a 350 package. Yo, appreciate you, Super. Let me know if you need anything. Literally heard you have the best service. Oh yeah, I appreciate, like, so today, guys, like I'm not even gonna like talk about like our services in general. You can go to sensequality.com if you want to find out more about them. But today is like about you guys and basically boosting your performance and just like an open talk with you guys one-on-one with like what would you want to know like about your PC or how to increase the FPS on your PC. So I'm taking all like these topics here and just making sure that you guys get them answered here. Let's see here. Oh, people are asking for the Discord. Let me go ahead and give you guys that. All right, let's get started here. Let's get started. Boom. Bang. All right, you guys ready for the T? So we need to all get out our notepads. We need to all get out our notepads here. Everybody right now, get out your notepads here. Or what I can do is I'm gonna leave these notes available at the end of the stream in our Discord here. So if you wanted these notes, I'm just gonna post it on our notes tab, I believe, stream notes in our Discord. So if you ever wanted them, you could just go check that out and you'll have them, no problem. I'll post all of them there. Let's see here. Don't know if anybody asked, but you'll be doing vids for Modern Warfare 2, of course, of course. Let's see here. We're actually gonna go a little bit into Modern Warfare 2 today. Okay, so that's another thing that we could go over. We could go over Nvidia Reflex low latency. So, like, what's the best for that? So that's a very good question right there. Boom. All right, let's do this. You guys ready? Are you guys ready? Let's do this here. Okay, so what should we start with first? Should I start with you guys' questions first? So I'm going to start with you guys' question first because these are some easy questions to answer. So how do I feel about BCLK OC? This is the only kind of OC that you really got to be careful with here, just because this can really mess you up if you don't know what you're doing. So just be careful when you're doing a BCLK OC, because when you're doing a regular OC, like let's say you're overclocking your CPU, that means that you are only affecting like your CPU when you're doing that, right? Or you should be only affecting your CPU. When you're doing a BCLK overclocking, you are putting stress on your entire system. Like, so it's not only your CPU, it's going to be your USBs, your GPU, your PCIe slots. Everything is getting stressed by this overclock. And that's why this is the only overclock that you have to be very, very careful with, because if you go too high, your PC could run into some issues very quickly here. So it's not a problem to do a BCLK overclock. However, it could be very dangerous. So if you don't know how to do it, I would stay away from it. This could like work when it comes to a 5800X3D and stuff like that, but you have to know what you're doing, like right on top of it. You have to be right on top of it. How can I fix my FPS and decrease my latency? We're gonna get into this majorly when it comes to like your RAM, your CPU, your GPU, and stuff like that. So hold on to this question here. And plus we could get into some internet stuff. So let me just put internet here. And we could get into some stuff regarding the internet. Now the 5800X3D, how do I feel about this? This is the best upgrade. We're going to get into this more in detail. So like, let's say you're already on like a Ryzen 50, let's say you're on a Ryzen 3000 CPU, like a Ryzen 3600X, a Ryzen 3950X, and you're looking for an upgrade or building a new PC. You might as well just upgrade to a 5800X3D and you should get the most performance benefits from that. And it's probably the best upgrade that you could do right now in terms of if you're in that position. If you're in like a Ryzen 5600X, you might be able to upgrade to a 5800X and see a difference. So that works too. So if you're on an AMD platform and you're looking for like similar performance to the Ryzen 7000s, like not that great, but it's like right there next to it, the 5800X3D is a very, very good upgrade. This paired with good RAM equals crazy FPS, crazy, like 300 FPS easily on this. So that's what I would recommend regarding that. Now, Nvidia Reflex low latency. So you got to be very careful when you're using this, right? So Nvidia Reflex low latency. So that's meant to decrease your overall latency in the game, of course, right? So low latency mode is meant to, like, let's say you have like low latency mode on, right? So this is for, let me think about this. So GPU bounded situations, right? And then you have low latency mode on plus boost. This is for CPU bounded situations. So let's say like you're playing Warzone on, let's say for example, you're playing Warzone on 1440p. You have a really great PC, like you have 1200K, you have a 3090 and all that stuff. And you're playing on 1440p. You are most likely in a GPU bounded situation, and you should be running low latency mode on, just on. Like that's it. Just enabled, right? And let's say like you have a weak CPU and you have a really great like GPU, right? So let's say you have a Ryzen 3950X and like a 3070 or something. Like it might be worth it to put low latency mode on boost, because that is a CPU bounded situation. Your CPU is holding you back. The bounded means what part in your system is basically holding you back from getting more frames, right? So if you're on 1440p, you're most likely in a GPU bounded situation. Your GPU is not providing like the most impact that you should. So you should be just enabled. You can have it on in 1440p, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. All you're doing is making your GPU work harder for no reason. It doesn't make that much of a latency difference. I'm talking 0.02 milliseconds of a difference, right? Low latency on, this is for like if you're on like 1080p, you have a decent CPU, you have a really great GPU and stuff like that, and you are limited by your CPU. So you have like a 3950X, which is really, really slow, like in terms of today's like standards. So basically that's when you would put Nvidia Reflex low latency on plus boost. Now, like what we've tested, like when we tested this like with professional players and stuff like that, what we've tested was basically like if you put on plus boost and you have a really great PC and you're on 1440p, it can actually hinder your performance because you're not limited by your CPU. Like all on plus boost does is make sure that your GPU is, all that it does, guys, is make sure that your GPU, or let's say your engine, is running at full force at all the time. So like let's say you have a car, right? And your CPU is a transmission, your GPU is the engine, right? What happens when you're just ramming like your engine, like, or just going to 8,000 RPM all the time? Your car is going to like stall out. And the same thing happens with PCs. So like, let's say that your GPU is perfectly fine, like it could keep up with your CPU, but you're on plus boost. Your GPU is going to be working harder because it's going to be trying to like go full force on everything, right? But you're going to be a subject of dev errors, which we saw a lot this year. And I noticed when like we made like a tweet about this, like we told everybody to use enabled instead of an on plus boost. When we made a tweet about this, like the dev errors like almost cut in half, like for the entire community. Like when everybody switched to just enabled, dev errors like almost were non-existent, which is crazy. So, and it kind of makes sense when you think about it. So if you are just on enabled, that should work well. You shouldn't be on off in FPS games. If you're on off in FPS games, you're doing yourself an injustice. Some people will say run Nvidia Reflex low latency off. Why? Why do they say run Reflex low latency off? The reason why they say to run it off is because they see that you get more FPS. They see that you get more average FPS. However, guys, it's more like average FPS is just the beginning of it. Like that does not determine if your PC is performing well or not. Like that's not the entire story. There's a whole thing to this, right? Yes, you get better average FPS, right? But FPS is only one part of the entire spectrum of things. Like, so you have a full force of input delay, right? You have a full chunk of input delay, right? From you clicking your mouse to you hitting a target, right? FPS is like this much, probably like not even a half, right? You have your like your mouse latency, your peripheral latency latency from your monitor, you have your GPU's render latency, your CPU render latency, basically your computation that you have to take into account. Like FPS is just one little fraction of that, right? So yes, you can get more FPS when NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency is disabled. However, you're losing in terms of latency when that's disabled. So what is more important? Is FPS more important or is lower latency more important? Lower latency is always more important in regard to like your gaming in general. And I don't mean latency like what you see in Warzone, like the latency up top and stuff like that. That's not real latency. That's your ping, right? They should name it ping. But latency is the number one thing when it comes to gaming, because latency is the difference between you seeing a person first and not seeing that person, right? So you want to make sure that your latency is lower. It's kind of weird saying this, guys. Like, I hope this makes sense, but yes, you can have higher FPS and higher latency. That is possible. That actually happens. A great example is NVIDIA GPUs. They have bad 0.1% lows, but they have higher FPS in general. But the NVIDIA GPUs, like of this generation, like 3000 series, 6000 series Radeon, NVIDIA GPUs have higher 0.1% lows, but lower average FPS. Guess which one feels better to a gamer? The NVIDIA GPU feels better because the 0.1% low FPS is better. So when you're looking to see if you're getting more frames or not, yes, average FPS is like a decent indicator, or more performance or not. Average FPS is a decent indicator, guys, but it is definitely not the final thing. Like, it's so much more stuff that gets into it. And this is like a huge thing that people miss here. And I just wanted to make this clear for you guys. So I hope that really broke it down. Let me know if like that was a good explanation or not, or if you guys have any questions about that. So NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency off. Yes, you might get higher FPS, but you'll have more latency. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency enabled or on. Yes, this is for GPU bounded situations like 1440p, 4K, stuff like that, right? Where your GPU is the limit. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency on plus boost is for CPU bounded situation. For example, Valorant, which it's very CPU intensive. That would be a very good place to have NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency on plus boost. For example, Warzone, which is kind of balanced. Warzone's like the perfect balance between the two. It really depends on what is your limiting factor. Most people's limiting factors, I can tell you guys right now from like seeing all these PCs, is probably their GPU here. Some people are limited to their CPU, but not as much as you think. If you're on 1440p, there's like an 80% chance that your GPU is probably like limiting you the most. But yeah, guys, so I hope that, did that make sense, guys? I just want to make sure that made sense to you guys. So this is a huge thing that people get mistaken. So if anybody tells you that NVIDIA Reflex like off is better, just follow this guide and you should be good to go. It's not, it'll look better, but it's not better in reality here. That's why FPS isn't everything when it comes to just boosting your performance. But let's see here. And internet, we're going to get into internet here. That's a whole different topic, how to lower your latency. So we're going to get into that. But let me see what we have written here. I have a few topics that I wanted to go over with you guys. So, boom. So if you have a 10700 with a 3070 used latency plus boost, right? So let's say like that's a good example, 10700 and he has a 3070 GPU, right? It depends. Are you on 1440p or are you on 1080p? If you're on 1440p, you might still be limited by your CPU. So that's a very good example. So basically, this guy has a 10700, right? CPU. And we can't really tell unless like we actually saw like what he's playing, like what game and stuff like that. But like this is how I would go through it. So your 3070 is very strong. You probably play in like 1080p, right? So if you're on 1080p, you should be using low latency enabled plus boosts, right? Because your CPU bounded, right? So your CPU's not overclockable because it doesn't have the K at the end or the KS at the end. So that means that or the KF at the end, it doesn't have any kind of K at the end. So that means your CPU does not overclock like to the maximum potential. So you are CPU bounded. So that's when you should use 1080p, low latency enabled plus boost, right? On 1440p, it gets a little hazy because we don't know what's like limiting you on 1440p. So this is where I would still like probably recommend like enabled plus boost for you because your CPU is not like boosting at all. So you probably are still you're probably both CPU and GPU bounded in that situation. So enable plus boost will do you well like on this in terms of this as well. So this is like when your CPU is just so like it's just not as fast as your GPU, it won't keep up. And when you use enable plus boost, but most people aren't in this predicament. Like most people, let's say if you had a 10700K, this changes it. So 3070, 10700K. So this is his CPU. This changes it right here. This changes the whole game right here. GPU. So now I know that his CPU can overclock, right? His CPU is boosting up to where it's supposed to be, right? This is a gaming CPU. So on 1080p, I would use low latency, like probably plus boost, right? Because he's probably going to need that. So on 1440p, I would use just low latency on. That's it, right? Because I know for a fact that his GPU is going to be bottlenecking him at 1440p because his CPU is fast enough to keep up with that. So his GPU is going to be the bottleneck. So this is how I would do it in general. You have to test it just to make sure. When in doubt, like just do this, guys. When in doubt, use Nvidia Reflex, low latency, enabled. When in doubt. Because 80% of you are probably GPU bounded. So when in doubt of what to use, like when it comes to Nvidia Reflex low latency, use it when it's just use enabled. Like if you don't know like what to do, if you haven't had somebody look at it just to see like which one to use, like in terms of your issues itself, use the enabled and you should be good. Like 90% of the time, for sure. Let's see here. So I hope that answers your question here. Is image scaling worth for 1440p in the latest NVIDIA driver? So image scaling is basically taking an image from like, let's say like 720p, right? And scaling it up to like 1440p. Like that's like a simple, it's like way more than that, but that's like a simple like way to think about it. So it's like DLSS like in a way, but it's not. It's the same thing. So if you're thinking of image scaling, it's similar to DLSS, but I wouldn't use it. Like, I don't like DLSS, guys, and I don't like image scaling currently, like, because DLSS could increase your latency. Remember I said latency is like the number one thing? Well, DLSS it doesn't always increase your latency, especially DLSS 3.0 might do that just because it's doing so much. What does DLSS have to do to get you those frames? So what is DLSS in general? Like, why does DLSS increase your latency? So think about it like this. DLSS is basically trying to guess how the next frame is going to look, right? It's like AI that NVIDIA built into their GPUs to try to guess what the next frame looks like. So number one, you might not get an accurate representation of the next frame, even though it's really good at that. It's really good at like guessing the next frame. Number two, it takes computation like to be able to guess that next frame. So it's a little bit delayed in like assuming like what frames like next and stuff like that. So that's why I don't use DLSS and like none of the pros or professional players use DLSS. If you're in like a situation where you don't have, if you're in DLSS is for this, like this is when to use DLSS. Use DLSS. Let's say like you have a game, right? And it's running at like 30 FPS, right? And you have like 144 FPS monitor, right? This is something like Assassin's Creed or something like that, right, guys? This is when you use DLSS to boost that 30 FPS up to that 144 FPS monitor, right? Because it's almost unplayable. It has to be to the point where it's almost unplayable, or like it's not really like latency is not a huge issue, like because it's like a single player game or something like that. It's not really like focused on like the latency kind of aspect of the game. That's when I would personally use DLSS, and that's when it comes in handy here. Um, so like when you're thinking of using DLSS, think about it like this. Like let's say like you have like a graphics card and like it's just getting 60 FPS and stuff like that, and you just need more. That's when you use DLSS. If you're not like that low, like you're still getting 120 FPS, 140 FPS, like you should be good. Like you shouldn't be, unless like you want to, you shouldn't be really using DLSS. But that's like the predicament where I use DLSS. That's where Nvidia. This is where Nvidia kills the game, because a lot of people are in this predicament, right? But on FPS games, I don't like using DLSS because it can increase your latency. But I'm a little biased here. Let's see here. Boom. Do you get more frames using image scaling? I believe sometimes you do. It depends on like how it's scaling the image in general. But yes, you do get more frames for image scaling. You get more frames from DLSS in general. Sometimes it just depends. But like, let's say like your image scaling up to 4K, right? That's when you would get more frames. Like let's say your image scaling up to 1080p, you're not getting really like a lot of frames from that, right? But if your image scaling up to 4K, that's when you could see like that frame increase in general. Let's see here. I'm late to the party. Have you made a recent? This is kind of weird, guys. Like just a side note. We have like 50 viewers like on Twitch right now. We have 50 viewers on YouTube. Like you guys are like 50-50 right now. We should do like a battle of like, oh, YouTube versus Twitch. Like who's getting their questions answered in general. But I'm late to the party. Have you made a recent video on DDR5? What is the best to get? And is 32 gigabytes of RAM the way over 64 gigabytes of Warzone? I'm going to build another PC and hopefully Thursday to grab a 4090 and a 13900K. That is a very, very great question. So that is one of our points that we have to get into here. So let's see. What software do you use to edit your vids? I still use Sony Vegas. Like I need to get into Adobe Premiere. I have to. That's like one of my goals for like this month and stuff. But like I still use Sony Vegas because when it comes to like content and stuff like that, guys, like a lot of people miss the ball. I realize like a lot, and we work with content creators all the time and stuff. We work with professional ones. We work with like ones just starting out. And I'll tell you like what separates like the ones that like actually kill the game and what doesn't. So basically, when it comes to content, like it's better that you put out like that 80% video than you don't put out anything at all. Like the video that you just put out, the video that you just like edited and it's like only 80% great, unless like you're a major content creator like Linus or like something like that. It's better like if you're growing in content, like just put out that 80% video. Like nobody, you know what I mean? Like you don't need like an editor to put it out. You don't need like well, you probably do need a thumbnail, like it'll help. But just put it out. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have to switch to Adobe Premiere and master it before you put out that video. That is the wrong way of doing things. It's not about what you use. Like you can't ask an artist, like basically you can't ask an artist like what kind of paint you use, right? Like, cause it doesn't matter. Like it's the artist that's doing the art. It's about like, what's the goal to the end? And basically what are you trying to achieve at the end? So like, if I like post my videos and edit it and I can do the same thing in Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas, but I'm familiar with Sony Vegas, I'm just going to like do it on Sony Vegas, right? Like, cause unless like I have time to go through Adobe Premiere and learn it and stuff, I'm just going to post it in Sony Vegas. I'm not going to let that fact that I need to learn Adobe Premiere hold me back from creating more content here. But literally like what I would recommend, guys, is don't like, there's just so much you can edit on your iPhone if you really wanted to. Like there's nothing stopping you from like creating good content. Like I've seen some TikTok people like create some crazy content like on their iPhone and stuff like that, just on their iPhone, not on their PC or anything like that. They're just doing it all from their iPhone. So there's nothing stopping you. You like have like the greatest computer in the world like in your pocket, which is a phone. So like even if you have to record videos on your phone, which is even better, like for discovery because TikTok, YouTube Shorts and stuff like that, it's even better for discovery for you to record videos on your phone. You shouldn't let anything like that like stop you. Like let's say you didn't know like what I edited on, like whatever is comfortable for you is what you should go with no matter what. Until like until you could delegate it or like hire an editor to do it for you, right? That's like my motto, and that's like how I see a lot of like successful creators like do it. Like I see creators do Adobe Premiere, like their grinders and stuff. But I do see creators too, like they use Sony Vegas still. Like a lot of them still use Sony Vegas. I think J God still uses that. Like it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter what you edit in. DaVinci, whatever, you could use anything. It doesn't matter what you edit in. It's about the final product. The final product matters. Because an artist, like if you're like a great editor, you can probably edit in all three of those softwares and make great content to the end. If you're like a really bad editor, you could edit in all three of those softwares and make horrible content to the end. So think about the end stage when it comes to that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, DaVinci's a really, really good option. I know a lot of people on DaVinci. Let's see. I know someone who charges $8 for Warzone thumbnails, and he's really good. Yeah, there's a lot of good thumbnail editors out there. Like that's the first thing I recommend people get. Thumbnail editors. Like that's the first thing. If you're looking to be a content creator in general, you should hire like a thumbnail editor. So when you do get the money, when you make enough money to do that. So let's do this. So what did he ask here? DDR5. So RAM. So he wants to get into RAM here. Oh boy, here we go. This gets deep. This is where everything gets deep here. RAM. Oh, RAM. So this is like the part that a lot of people are probably missing in general. Let's see. RAM's gonna be very hard to get into if I don't get into like the new gen PCs. I mean the new gen like of CPUs first. So let's go through like new gen CPU or processors. Let's go into that first. Then let's go into RAM. Then let's go into GPUs, right? Or graphics cards. Because it takes knowing how the new gen processors work to understand what RAM is better or not, or like what's better in general, right? So let's go through the new gen processors. Like I'm just gonna go through a slight overview of what you have to know for the new gen processors. The first, all right, so let me do this. So the new gen processors, it's either you get like an AMD 7000 series or Intel, what is it, 13th gen, right? So both of them are very good. Like they both increase FPS, obviously, right? But you're probably asking yourself, what do I go with here? And this is gonna lead into RAM too. So like, what's gonna be better overall? What's better? Pros and cons, right? So we're gonna go through all that. So it's more, if you're asking what's better, it depends. This is why you have to start from the end, guys. So when you're looking to upgrade anything, when you're looking to build a new PC, you have to start from the end. And this is how I like to approach things. You have to start from the end and kind of determine what are your goals? Like, what do you want to see out of this thing? Like, how do you make this happen, right? Like, do I want a PC to get 300 FPS? Do I want a PC to get 250 FPS on 1440p? Like, what am I trying to achieve? Like, what's my budget? And then let me go from there, right? Like, what games do I usually play? What do those games like need in general? For example, Valorant is a very CPU intensive game, so I need the best kind of CPU there. Warzone, it's a balance between your CPU and GPU. So I might not have to go too crazy on my CPU. So I could just splurge a little bit more on my GPU. It's a balancing act, right? So that's where like you have to, like when you're thinking about upgrading or building a new PC, you have to start from the end. And this goes like for anything that you're doing, right? So in regards to like Intel versus Ryzen, what's better and what's not, let me just say this. So in most better for gaming, and this is not all games, right? This is not all games, but most of the time, like from what we've seen so far, Intel, right? Like Intel has better 0.1% FPS lows, right? So you see your enemy faster, like for FPS games. And that matters. Like seeing your enemy first is probably the number one thing that matters in FPS games. Like being able to see people first is like the number one advantage that you can have, right? So if you're looking for better 0.1% lows, you're looking for more smoother gunfights. I don't know if you guys ever experienced this in FPS games, but you're like in a gunfight, like you're shooting at somebody, but like it's kind of feeling laggy, like it's kind of just not feeling right. You lose a gunfight, you're wondering why you lost it and stuff. That's because like in gunfights, like when you're seeing like that red on your screen and stuff like that, like the gore and stuff, like all of that and the bullets coming at you and like your enemy slide canceling around your screen, that takes a lot of resources to render. That takes a lot to take in, like from a system, right? That's probably the most intensive situation that your system's gonna be in, like for throughout the whole time that you're in like a Warzone or Valorant and stuff, right? So this is where your 0.1% low FPS comes in, right? So the higher your 0.1% low FPS, the smoother those gunfights are, the smoother your game feels. You can have lower average FPS and high 0.1% FPS, and your game's gonna feel like butter. You can have very high average FPS, and you can have very low 0.1% FPS, and your game's gonna feel like crap. And the reason why is because 0.1% FPS is probably like 1%, 0.1% is probably like the most important type of FPS in your game. This is the FPS that you can't see, that you're gonna have to run a benchmark to like test and stuff. This is like what we do like in our service and stuff like that. However, like this is what you want to focus on if you're just like new to this, right? Like there's more stuff, but this gives you a very good indicator of if a system's better or not. Generally, Intel has better 0.1% FPS. The question you have to ask yourself is why? Why do they usually have better 0.1% FPS? Well, the answer to that is because they can do higher megahertz. This is where RAM, let me say it has better RAM capability, right? So it could do higher megahertz, lower timings, right? So when it comes to RAM, let's say like for example, you have a 6400 megahertz CL 32, 38, 38 kit, right? The AMD kits, I think the best AMD kit's like 6,000 megahertz for now is CL, was it 30, 38, 38, right? This is the best AMD kit. The best Intel kit for this new gen for that's out right now is the 6400 CL32. I believe there's a CL32, 38, 38, right? So this is the best Intel kit out right now. But here's the thing. What is coming out for Intel, right? Intel hasn't came out yet, guys, and that's why a lot of its kits haven't come out yet. This is for 12th gen Intel, right? So let's go 13th gen. So 13th gen, it can do, there's a 7200 megahertz. Let me see if I could find this real quick. 7200 megahertz T-Force RAM kit. Okay, so this is the new RAM kit. This is the new RAM kit for 13th gen, right? I'm trying to see if I could find the timings here. And this is why Intel has an advantage over AMD. Just because of RAM. People underestimate the capability of RAM. So this is like, oh my God, CL34, Jesus Christ. Here it is right here. Shoot, I need to buy some of these. CL34, 42, 42, 84. So let me just post that here. Where is that? 34, 42, 42, 84. CL 34, 42. CL 34, 32. What was it again? 34, 42, 42. Okay, 42. And these numbers right here matter. There's a reason why I'm putting these numbers out here. Right? So CL 34, 42, 42 versus 7200 megahertz. CL 34, 30, 42, 42 versus 6000 megahertz. CL 30, 38, 38. Let's say like AMD. Let's say AMD, you can go, like, let's say you can go up to 6400 megahertz, CL like 32 or something like that, right? Like, let's say that's the max for AMD. That's still way behind this 7200 megahertz like RAM kit that Intel has. This is XMP, guys. This is not even like tuning. This is just out the box. You're getting 7200 megahertz. That's almost double DDR4. Like some really good DDR4 kits, right? That's almost double. Let me just plug this user from YouTube. Boom. So when it comes to which one is better, I would highly look at like the RAM kits in general. The RAM determines a lot when it comes to a lot of games for now, until we get like, you know, direct storage like in 5 years or something like that. But commercial inbound. But this is what you have to look at when it comes to RAM tuning and stuff. So why is this important? Why is this 6000 megahertz important? Why is this 7200 megahertz important? It's because this is why Intel has better 0.1% lows. This is the stuff right here that allows you to see your enemy first. These little numbers right here can determine if you're seeing your enemy first or not, right? And that's like the interesting stuff about this. Like this is like very, very like interesting. And a lot of people miss this. Like a lot of people, like I've seen a lot of like people get like 5600 to 6000 RAM kits, like from like pre-built companies and stuff like that. And they have no idea how much they're going to miss. And I assure you like that the people that are getting 13th gen like kits, they're not going to get like this cream de la creme kit, right? Because PC manufacturers are not going to make like a lot of these are going to be very expensive. And they're going to try to keep the cost down so you could try to buy that PC, right? So this is why you would get a 13th gen over a Ryzen. And this is why kind of I haven't been pushing. Like I see a lot of people pushing the 7950X, like the 7900X and stuff like that. Like I'll give you like the back end of like what we're doing right now. Like we are currently like all of our techs right now, we bought them all like the 7950X. Like, so all of them have it. So like all of them are tuning and stuff like that. But the reason why I'm not pushing is because like to the end of the day, like I'm not trying to sell you guys like a PC, right? Like that's not what I'm making this content for. I'm making this content to educate you guys. So like when you're making that decision to like upgrade your PC or like buy a PC and stuff like that, yeah, you might come to us, but like even if you don't come to us, like you are set on like what to look for and what not to look for, right? And that is like the number one goal, because our goal is to make gamers' lives better, right? So when you're looking at what is best, you gotta look at the RAM, and this is where RAM determines who's better this generation. This is why like I haven't been really pushing like the 7950X, like what it can do, 5.4, 6000 megahertz and all that stuff, because I almost know we've tested the 13700K at TwitchCon. I can't say like too much details on that. I might get like DMC8 or something like that. But all I can tell you is that I'm almost certain that the 13th gen is going to have better 0.1% lows, right? And how do we tell that? How do we tell that? The 12900K is still beating the 7950X, like Ross has said, in the 0.1% low FPS, like in Warzone, right? So if the 12900K is still being in 0.1% low, what do you think the 13900K is about to do? Or the 13th gen like CPUs are about to do? It's about to absolutely, like pretty much like just annihilate it when it comes to 0.1% lows, 1% low FPS. Notice I'm not saying average FPS because I can make the average FPS look very, very pretty, but that doesn't mean that you're getting the least latency possible, right? So I'm saying specifically 1% FPS lows, 0.1% FPS lows, because that's what you want to focus on if you are a FPS gamer. If you're like a Sid Meier Civilization gamer, I'm personally one. If you're like playing strategy games, none of this means, well, some of this means something to you. This could affect those games too, but it doesn't mean as much. Like you don't have to be as strict, right? But if you're playing FPS games, like, and you need that FPS instantly, like you need the max, like the lowest latency at all times, this stuff is very, very important. And a lot of gamers like don't get that. And that's like why we're making this content today. So if you're looking for the best for gaming, I would suggest for now, until the 13900K comes out or the 13th gen comes out, we do the testing and we post it on YouTube, which you should see in a couple of days. The 13th gen is the safest bet. Intel's always the safest bet when it comes to CPUs. That doesn't mean just only go with Intel. That means that for now, it looks like it's better. So I'm just going to put an asterisk near that. So if you're looking to get just the best build possible, then you get a 13th gen. If you're looking to get like a decent build, like a 7950X is expensive. Like, I don't know why it's so expensive, guys, but like that build is expensive. And for you not to have like the best of the best for that kind of pricing, I don't feel like that's fair to you. And I see a lot of like, I don't know, like if it's like because of allocation and stuff like that. This is why like the PC industry is like kind of messed up, because for you like to get 4090 allocations, you usually, as a PC like company, let's say like a systems integrator, you usually have to, for you to get 4090 allocation, right? This is why like listening to a PC company is, you got to be very, very like kind of like iffy. Like even when I'm saying stuff, you kind of got to be iffy. Like I can tell you right now that like I don't really like working with a lot of distributors when it comes to this because of this exact thing that I'm about to tell you. Like I'm not even supposed to be telling you guys this, but I'm going to tell you guys this anyway. So when it comes to 4090 allocation, like everybody wants a 4090, right? So this is like a guaranteed like PC purchase, right? But what a lot of PC or distributing companies do is, oh, hey, like you want a 4090 like for your customer? Okay, you can have 20 4090s. Like you can have 20, but you have to take like 20 mid RAM kits and like 20 mid CPUs in order to get this 4090 allocation. Right? Deal? And this is how like the PC this is how the PC company or like the PC industry works on the back end. So of course, like, and it's not the PC like a system integrator's fault or anything like that. Of course, you're gonna have to say yes if this is your main source of income, because basically, like, it's better than you not getting the allocation of the 4090s, right? If you didn't get the allocation, you would make no money. So you have to take whatever they give you, right? And this is how a lot of like the back end works. Like when it comes to distributors and like PC companies getting like all their parts and stuff like that. That's like why your CPU might be good, your GPU might be good in pre-builds, but a lot of like the other parts in pre-builds are like mid, because of this exact reason right here. Cause in like PC, like in the PC industry, there isn't a lot of margin. That's why I was asking like the guy like above, like, why do you want to like, how can I get into the PC industry? That's why I was asking him, why do you even want to get into the PC industry? Like, to be honest, like if you were starting a business, like if you're starting a business, guys, you want to like operate on like 20%, 30% margin, right? Because this is how you keep your business alive. This is like what Apple like does and stuff like that. This is what like Google and all that those businesses do, right? Because that's what keeps your business alive. Like a business has to make profit, right? Or I'm not sure why you're like making a business in the first place. It has to make profit, 20 to 30%. PC industry, it's like 5 to 6%, right? And that's like being generous. Like that's generous. Because if it's a $5,000 build, and let's say it's a $5,000 build, right? I'm literally telling you statistics right here, guys. I'm keeping it a buck. I'm keeping it a buck with you guys. And let's say you charge like $200 in labor, right? So how much profit? What's that profit margin here? So let's do the math here. Let's do the math. So, boom, 200 plus 5,000. Okay, so that's 5,200. So then I'm gonna do 200 divided by 5,200 in general, not even including taxes, times 100%. So I'm making like, let's say I charge $200 in labor. This equals a let's just say a 4% profit margin. Is that a good business to be in? That is very, 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 very like that is very hard. Now here's where it gets crazy. Like here's where it gets crazy, right? How do you increase your profit margin if you are a normal PC company? Like you don't do like you only build PCs, right? How do you increase your profit margin? Well, this is where like it gets kind of like shady, right? So if I'm a normal gamer and I don't know anything about PCs, this is why I make my content, guys. Because I've seen this on the back end. I've literally experienced this, guys. Like I know that like we sell PCs and I'm telling you this, right? Let's say I'm a gamer and I like am looking for a PC. Everybody's hyping up the CPUs, everybody's hyping up the GPUs. I don't really know anything about anything else. So I'm just gonna leave that up to like the PC company to do it. And I'm just gonna buy a PC, right? So let's say like with your PSU, you don't know what's a good PSU. You don't know like the difference between a bronze, titanium, platinum, whatever that is, like whatever kind of PSUs like you could think of, like you don't know the difference like of the pricing of the PSUs, right? So me as a PC company, like this is where a PC company might be like, oh, this is a great PSU, right? And I'm going to charge you max profit, like max for it, because I said it was great, right? When in the back end, it's a mid, like in reality, it's probably a mid PSU. I probably had to do it for allocation of the GPU you got, right? What else? Like, and plus, I can maximize my profit margin with that mid PSU. So, like, let's say like a great PSU is $200. Let's say mid PSU is like $110, right? Then I could still like PC or PC company or pre-built company. I can still $200. I can still charge you that $200, right? And make $90 more, right? Which equals more profit margin. And this is how most like PC companies make their money here. This exact way is how exactly this is exactly how the back end works. And this is why we don't really work with distributors like that, because like when I was approaching distributors and I'm like, okay, like I only want the best stuff, right? Like, can you only give me the best stuff? they usually can't only provide you the best stuff, especially if you only have one distributor, because like because they need stuff to sell too, guys. Like they gotta get rid of this mid PSU somehow. How do you think is the best way to get rid of this mid PSU? By selling it with something you want to. Like it's like piling like a piece of gold with like garbage, right? And this is how it works. And you have to say yes or no to that. I personally said no. Like that's why our PCs are a little bit more expensive than other like companies, because number one, I just want the best parts like in the PCs period. Like I'm not trying to do like this mid PSU thing, make profit off of you like this. Like I'm not trying to go through all that. I just want like the best like PCs period. Number two, they kind of like it's like this. Like let's say like I'm going to a distributor, right? And I'm like, okay, like I kind of want like I really want the Seasonic. I really want the Seasonic like power supplies, right? I really want those, like, because I know those are like really good. Like, so I really want the Seasonic power supplies. Can you do that for me? Like with this like 4090 batch? Usually they're like, yeah, you could have the Seasonic, but EVGA like or EVGA is having a rebate on their PSUs, and you can get this exact power supply for cheaper, right? Because EVGA wants to get rid of like their allocation and stuff. So do you want to take this? And we'll give you more allocation if you take this. And this is where like it got kind of weird, and like we kind of didn't go through with this. Like this is like the back end of the PC industry. So like if you're thinking about this is going over like a whole bunch of profit equals revenue minus cost. It's just a quick accounting lesson. Yeah, that is true. But literally if you're going over all of this, right? If you're going over all of this, right? And you're like, oh, I want to be a part of the PC industry, right? You got to really ask yourself, why do you even want to be in business in the first place? Like, do you really want to be in an industry where you're only making a 4% profit margin? Like, is that really what you want when like really, really great businesses make 20 to 30% profit margin? Like, what are you in this for? And if you really love PCs, then I would say go for it for sure. But if this doesn't sound like right to you, then I wouldn't like focus on it. If you're trying to get into this to make money, there's better ways to make money than building PCs. Way better ways to make money than building PCs. So like that's just my thing. So let's see here. So that was just a side rant. So now you guys know how to start a PC company. Like if you guys wanted to, you find a distributor, get the distributor, you get like that tax form. Like, so how to start, a PC company. This is how you do it. Okay. Number one, get a LLC. This is not tax advice, not financial advice. Okay. So you get an LLC and you get tax exempt from reselling products. That's number one. Number two, find distributor and sell your soul. Okay. Number three, you sell it to people for 4% to 6% profit margin. And boom, you started a company. that's how you do it. Like that's how easy it is. So yeah, definitely like if you're talented, I would say like go for something like bigger than that. Like we don't only build PCs, like we do like the whole IT structure, we do your internet, PC, audio, all that, because like I would honestly get bored like just doing this. Like this is very boring. And it's just repetitive, it's just based off scale. And there's just better markets to be in than this. So for sure, if you wanted to do this, this is exactly what you do. Exactly what you do. I just told you guys the sauce of how PC companies work on the back end. Like you just heard that from a PC company yourself. So let's see here. From sales tax, not income tax. Correct, Paul. From sales tax. That's a good tax exempt from sales tax. That is very good. That is a very good indicator right there. Sales tax. Make sure that's clear. Not income tax. Not income tax. Boom. So that's how you do it right there. So let me see here. Boom, boom, boom. Can I work for you? Maybe. I don't know. Like if we need people soon. Let's see here. Rasta Pasta, 5,000. All right, so Rasta was saying 5,000 for FPS Demon PC is a lot. Those parts don't cost all that. So your profit margin are definitely higher than 4 to 6%. Yes. So basically, those parts do cost more than you think, because we pick the best parts. So like we don't get our parts. Well, we get some parts like at a discount sometimes, but we don't get all our parts at discounted rates like other PC companies because we don't want to sell. I personally don't believe in selling my soul like this. Like I don't want to sell. Like I'm trying to make gamers' lives better. Like this is this making gamers' lives better? Probably not. Like I would just be another company doing this. Like if I was to do that, right? So basically, our parts are definitely going to be higher, and we try to pick the best parts because we're not stuck to a distributor telling us what parts to pick, right? So that's why our parts are a little bit higher. So if you're comboing that with not getting a discounted rate on parts, getting the best parts, it's going to be higher, like than you think. It's going to be way higher. Plus, yeah, exactly. And plus, like we literally had just now like a scalping epidemic, so it was like very hard to get any of these parts here. Plus, you have to like factor in what is it? You have to factor in so much stuff. So like if you're starting a PC company, you have to buy just the stuff to ship it in. So we double pack our PCs so it doesn't get their damage. You have to factor in just the labor. You have to factor in that we don't only build PCs, right? What do we do? So we're fixing your internet, we're doing your stream, we're tuning like so you're getting like an FPS tune. We're fixing your audio. We're doing a lot more than just building your PCs here. And I have to factor in all of this cost as well. So basically, that's why it's higher. And it's generally going to be higher than like the other companies. If other companies are doing the same thing, like doing all of this for you, then I would say for sure this might not be for you, right? But I know for a fact that they're not doing as much as us, like in regards to this, and that's why it's so much. Because what what is this Tinder thing? Um, because we're just like I want gamers to have the best experience possible. Like if you just ask anybody that got a PC from us before, guys, and you should know like they'll tell you like everything that we go through and stuff like that. So that's good. We're not only doing like a PC optimization and stuff, we're doing everything. So that's why it's higher in general. It costs more. Let me see. Okay. So what's next? What is next here? Boom. Boom. I'm trying to see if this RAM is available, guys. That's what I'm trying to see. I need my exclusive stream badge. Let me actually write that down. Like, so I gotta do SENSEQUALITY stream badge. And I gotta do DDU video for you guys. And let me know like what else I gotta do here, guys. But let's see here. Boom. So we went through the RAM. Boom. SENSEQUALITY emotes. All right, so let's do this. So there's some stuff I didn't go through with Ryzen versus Intel that we still have to cover. So can I do that? Nope. So we went through Ryzen is limited by memory. Even though it's like pretty fast, it's still limited by memory. This is why the 0.1% lows are lower than Intel, which is like huge, right? What else is there? So Ryzen all core. So Ryzen OCs are different So Ryzen likes to do this thing where Ryzen likes to do this weird thing, like with their overclocks and stuff like that. And I feel like this messes them up so much. But I kind of get it. So like Ryzen's really good for great for single threaded games, right? So great for games that like focus on that, but a lot of AAA games are starting to use multi-threaded performance. Um, and right, what happens when a lot of games like to use multi-threaded performance? What do I mean by multi-threaded performance? So, like, let's say a single-threaded game. This means single-threaded game means this. So, it is only getting single-threaded games means that you're using or boosting one to like two or three cores, right? To run the game on, which is how a lot of games run, right? For a lot of the time. That's how games used to run. That's how a lot of games still run. But with a lot of AAA games, their engines are getting smarter. So, for example, Fortnite, Valorant, Call of Duty, and stuff like that, they're using multi-threaded very, very well. So this means that you have like 4+ cores to run the game on, right? And the problem with Ryzen's is that how its overclocking works, like let's say like PBO and stuff like that, it it increases the speed of 2 to 3 cores, right? Then this is how the previous gen, I'm not sure 100% sure if this gen still does that. So let's say like it goes from 5.2 to like 5.5 gigahertz, right? So it increases like 2 to 3 of those cores, of those 16 cores to 5.5 gigahertz. Then it turns off the cores to cool it down. So it increases this to 5.5 gigahertz for a few seconds, right? So for a few seconds, it does this. And then it turns it off to cool it down, right? I'm not sure if this still happens here. This is just how PBO works. Games hate this. I can tell you for a fact, games absolutely hate when games love consistency. That's all you have to know. Games love consistency. So if I'm using, let's say, 2 to 3 cores, right? And it's performing very well, your game's running well for a couple of seconds, and then you turn off those cores right on your game, right? And then you have to switch what cores the game has to switch what cores it's working on for that particular for this particular like speed, because the game's looking for the fastest cores possible. That's what the game's engine's looking for, right? If the game has to switch the cores, it's gonna be better if I paint this. Hold on, let me get out the paint. Let me get out the paint. Let me get out the paint. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is your Ryzen. This is your Ryzen PC, right? This is gonna be what we call CCX. Actually, it doesn't work like that. It's like 2 8 cores. So, boom, you have those 8 cores right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is a 7950X. Oh, can I draw? I got to get my mouse game up, my paint game up. So this is what we call CCX 1. This is what we call CCX 2, right? So it's split. This split is an increase in latency, right? This split right here. So just keep that in mind. That's the first thing, right? So let's say your game has, can you guys see this? Oh no, you guys can't see this. Hold on. Let's say your game, right, is using these 3 cores right here at 5.5. Oh, that is horrible. 5.5 gigahertz, right? So it's using these 3 cores. So this boosts up to 5.5 gigahertz for a few seconds for your game, right? Which is cool. Like that's perfectly fine. But then because it's heating up, remember that 95 degrees thing like from Ryzen and stuff, then what the algorithm does, like to prevent the CPU from like overheating or anything like that, or like messing up the cores, it's like, yeah, you can get this for a few seconds, but then nope, let's turn these off. Let's turn these off for a few seconds, and then let me switch you and put these to 5.5. So it goes from this to this. So what's the problem with this? Like, what is the problem with turning these cores off, turning these on, and your game running on these now at 5.5? Because they're still like, they're both 5.5, right? Like, what's the issue? The issue is switching. Like, this switch is a lot of latency. This switch increases latency. This is what a lot of people, this is why your 0.1% on Ryzen isn't as good on Intel. Plus you have like the memory issue. In regards to that. And guess what causes the memory issue? It's probably, it's a little bit of like this 2CCX thing, but it's most likely just the Ryzen platform and how it works, right? So number one, you have more latency because you have a CCX1, you have a CCX2, right? It's not that big of a deal like this gen, but like last gen, it's huge. It's absolutely atrocious latency. Well, it's not that bad, but you get what I mean. But then on top of that, you have your game switching cores like every few seconds or like every few minutes just to make sure that the CPU stays cool so it could decrease in temperatures, right? And keep this 5.5 gigahertz, which is fine if you're on a single threaded game, but like horrible if you're on multi-threaded. Like multi-threaded games like Call of Duty hates this switch, right? Number 3 is basically you have 3 of these cores asleep, and then these cores need to wake up, and you have to transfer just that workload from CCX1 to CCX2, right? That's why on Ryzen, when I say this is like the background on in Ryzen for like Modern Warfare, which like likes multi-threaded games, right? It likes multi-threaded workloads. That's why, and this is gonna all come together. That's why you have to do this Call of Duty thing right here. This, let me open this right here. Boom. Do I have Notepad++? No, I don't. Okay. User settings. Look, user settings, render word count 16 because I have 16 cores on my 5950X, 16 cores right here. Cool. And it has 16 cores. That's why you get more performance, or you did get more performance when you switch this to 8. And nobody like probably explained that to you guys, because basically when you switch it to 8, you're only depending on 8 of these, right? 8 of these cores. You're not going to CCX2 anymore. None of these matter to you. You're only using one CCX, and that decreases this latency right here going from one CCX to another. So that's the reason why like Ryzen's are a little bit iffy, like when it comes to just overall. It's great on performance, but the 0.1%, that's the background, and that's like the science behind why it doesn't perform as great as Intel. Because number one, the memory. Number two, because of like how this algorithm works right here. But it's getting better though. It's getting better. Yo, what's good, Flux? How do I say that? Did you guys understand that? Was that too much? Did I go too deep? Was that too deep? Was that too deep? No, that was good actually. All right, perfect. I just want to make sure I didn't freaking lose you guys. Um, how big of a difference would that actually make though? It does. Like, how big of a difference does this make? how big of a difference does this make? Like it depends what you're doing, right? Like if you're looking, it doesn't make a huge difference, right? Like this whole process, like it's not that big of a deal. Like you can run your game perfectly fine with like a lot of FPS if you had it, right? All I'm saying is that Intel chips like don't have to go through this process. Like so a game like the CPU manufacturers, like they have all these like algorithms and stuff like that, right? Like because they want their CPU to be the fastest. Like it's like a thing. Like they just want the highest gigahertz possible and stuff because that does increase like your games like speed in general or your FPS in general, right? The problem is like games, like they're just like it's just looking for the fastest cores and basically it's looking for reliability and most importantly consistency. This is where a lot of these algorithms like don't work. A lot of them do work, but this is where this algorithm doesn't work. Games love consistency. So like if Windows, for example, is giving your games only 8 cores, right? Like your game's only using 4 cores, it's using that same 4 cores the whole time. You're not gonna really have like much issues and stuff. Going back and forth like this first, it kind of like first this like really like messes with like the game engine because most game engines don't think that your PC runs like this. Most game engines are still thinking like, oh, all your PC, your whole CPU runs at like 4 gigahertz, right? Your whole PC is running at 4 gigahertz, and that's all we have to worry about. Like that's what we're making this engine for, right? Because most games know that their users don't have the latest or the best of the best. You guys are like the 0.0001%. And like the most like I think like the most like developed like PC the CPU is like I don't know like a 26 something like i5 26 something and like the most like most used GPU on Steam is still like a 1060 dude. Like that's still like what they're basing everything off of. Like a 1060. That's like the most used GPU, right? So most games are looking at these players and they're not looking at these players because you guys are the outliers. So they're not looking at any of this algorithmic stuff. And this might look better in terms of like in benchmarks and stuff, but it doesn't look like the best in some games. It depends on what you're playing. It's better on others. But on some games, it's not like the best. And that's why Ryzen has this latency issue. And that's like why Intel's like slightly a little bit faster here, right? Um, and yeah, so like most people think that because like games are like, most people think that games are updating to the latest tech and stuff, and they kind of are, like kind of, but not really. Like they're still focused on the 1060 player because there's more 1060 players than there are 7950X players, right? So that's what you have to think about, and that's why that's when this becomes like a problem here. And it's not really a problem for some games or most games, just a problem for like some AAA games. So yeah. So we just went through why Ryzen is kind of lagging behind in terms of 0.1% FPS. So if you guys ever want to know the science behind it, this is the science. Oh my God, that is ugly. This is extremely ugly. This is extremely ugly, but this is the science. This is the science, guys. But yeah, what games want to see, this is what games want to see. Let me show you guys. I'm going to open up another one of these. So this is what the CPU is doing, right? Intel kind of does the same thing, but like not as much. So let's say this is 1 CCX. Let's say this is 2 CCX. Let's say both of these CCXs are like 5.5 gigahertz. This is what games prefer, right? And even more, they prefer only one of these. like just only 8 of these cores. Like you could use like whatever you want for these other 8 cores, but they just want 8 of these cores. They just all want it to run at 5.5 or something like that, like depending on what CPU you have. And then like the game's like running chilling. Like that's what the game wants. That's what the game expects, right? This is what the game gets. So what do you think happens when the game is expecting that, but it's getting this? A lot of weird stuff starts happening. Um, so yeah, that was deep. That was deep. Holy moly. So that's kind of like the stuff that we do on the back end, guys, just to show you a little glimpse of like what we kind of like think about on the back end when we're making these recommendations and stuff. Because like stuff like that's important. Like if you guys like that, that's cool. If you guys don't, that was like a little too deep. So like I apologize if I went too deep on that one. But yeah, so it's not only about like just average FPS. Now you could see that it's not only about just average FPS and stuff like that. Like it's way more than that. It's like how is like how is the algorithm functioning? How can I manipulate that algorithm to function like at the max performance? Like all of this stuff. Have you guys been testing the 7950X and 4090 on Warzone, and what type of performance are you seeing? Like so far, like we've been testing the 7950X on Warzone for sure. The 4090s, we haven't gotten any 4090s in yet. So I can't say the performance in regards to the 4090. All I know is that the 2900K like has comparable 0.1% lows as the 7950X. Like it's almost like similar 0.1% lows. So if that's similar, then the 13900K is going to have better 0.1% lows for sure, right? And that's why like we're recommending like the 13 series like Intel, because not only it doesn't do this to your game, it's basically more stable, more consistent, and everything. Like, and you can have higher RAM like OCs, and it's just like a lot more extra stuff that you can get with it. Let's see. What kind of sauce do you want, Worse? Hot sauce, tea sauce. What kind of sauce do you want? Um, so then if I play COD and Valorant, you recommend going Intel then for consistency? Yes, I do recommend going Intel for consistency, like 100%. Intel just works. Like that's like I guess like that's their motto now. Like it just works. And it's just always like the most consistent. Ryzen, like it sometimes has the capability to get more average FPS, but so far from what I've seen, it doesn't have the capability to get better 0.1% lows and more FPS. It doesn't have the capability to do both. Once it does, that's when Ryzen takes over. Um, let's see. AMD settings. Wars. I can't provide that sauce yet, bro. I'll provide some sauce later this week, Wars, for you for the AMD settings and stuff, but not just yet. I want to make sure that we're comfortable on it, and then I'll let you know. But just to let you guys know, 13700K is a tad bit faster in like a 1200K. That's all you have to know. So like if you have like an overclocked 1200K, like you're functioning like a average 13700K. That's how like Intel is structured right now. So if this is like an average, like if this is like a what, like at 5.2, 5.3 gigahertz, right? Like you overclocked it to that, then like you should be like, this is a guessing, right? Then you should be on par with a 13700K. So just think of your 1200K as a 13700K. Now, like you have to ask yourself, is it worth like paying $600 to upgrade to a 13900K? That's up to you, but that's how you should like look at it right there. Let's see here. $2070 Super is still getting 200 FPS in Caldera. Cough, cough. Oh, yeah. True, my man. Can you explain the difference between K and KF? So K is unlocked cores. Cores are boosting, right? KF unlocked cores. Cores are boosting, but you don't have integrated graphics, right? With plus you have integrated graphics on the Ks. Now this doesn't really matter if you have a discrete, like if you have a discrete graphics card, like a 4090 for example, or like any kind of other graphics card that's not on a chip, then this doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. What do I do to get my net up? I have 1 GB, but don't have to write a modem in my room, but I'm wired in. I would get like your own router there. That's when that will like help you out. So this is all you have to know, like between the K and the KFs. Doesn't really matter that much. Like unless like I mean, like if you can get a K for like $20 more, like you might as well, but it's not that big of a difference. It's really not. It's not gonna make like a big FPS difference. It actually makes a 0 FPS difference, like the difference between these. But with the KF, you need a discrete graphics card. That's the only thing. Did you try the latest Nvidia driver? I am getting 20 to 30 FPS on it. Yes, we did try the new driver. I'm actually on it right now. People are saying that they're using more of their GPU, but that's not like necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, I'm definitely getting more FPS on it for sure. Let's see. What else did I have to go over here? Boom, 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 boom. What's the best DDR5 RAM for Intel? So for Ryzen, I think the best RAM. Did we? Hold on. Do we have that? Holy moly, 13 pages. Holy moly. All right, so for Ryzen, this is just for Ryzen PC. So for the 12th gen, like you could get the 6400 megahertz, 32, 38 right now, which is cool. For AMD, currently, like they're recommending the 6000, 30, 38, 38. I believe that you could do the 6400 CL32, but if it doesn't have AMD Expo, then you can't just automatically, like turn it on and XMP it. So usually, like most people are gonna go with the 6000 megahertz right here. Whichever one has AMD Expo. So AMD, look for AMD Expo RAM, right? Now Intel, like the 13th gen, I've seen some tweets and I've seen some like news about the 7200 megahertz RAM coming out, but it hasn't yet. But the thing that you have to know about like all these RAM kits and stuff like that, guys, is that all of them are generally like, for the most part, the same exact kit, just different timings. So this 6400 3232, this 6432 kit here and the 6432 kit here is most likely the same kit as this 7200 kit. All that they're doing is changing the megahertz, changing like this, the CL 34 to 42, 42. And it's literally probably the same exact thing. Literally the same. Like if you went into your system and you just changed this 6400 to 7200, you like copied this, then you might like be able to boot it, no problem. However, the reason why they put, like, let's say they have two of the same kits. They have the 6400, they have the 7200 right here, right? How they do it is this, like, what determines if the same kit gets placed as a 6400 or 7200 megahertz kit? The difference is how much heat that it could take before it's, how much heat it could take before it is unstable, right? So this 7200 is guaranteed to be able to take in more heat or like more thermals, more thermal load than the 6400. And it's more stable, like for the most part, than the 6400 under like higher temperature conditions, right? And that's the only difference when it usually comes to these, if they are the same kits. Now some of these kits cannot do this, but that's like very rare. But for the most part, they're the same kit. It's Hynix. Like all Hynix kit is like almost like the same exact thing. But let's see. So the best one for Intel that we've seen so far is this 344242 that hasn't come out yet. So currently the best one is probably the 6600 CL, I believe 34. Let's see. Boom. How does this thing keep coming back? Let's do this. What's the best DDR5 RAM for Intel? Okay. Getting a 7700 budget for GPU would fall into 3080 Ti, 6950 XT price range, bang for the buck. Which GPU should I pair with my CPU? Probably a 3080 Ti. Or you can go with a 4080 or a 4070. That 4070 that's coming out. So you can go with that too. It all depends on like what's your budget, what's your actual budget, and what you can afford. Just go with the best one possible. But if you're thinking in terms of Warzone, yeah, I would probably go 40 series. I would probably go 40 series. Yes, like a 3080 Ti is a discrete GPU. Any GPU that's not connected to your CPU is a discrete GPU. So if you literally have like a GPU in your hand, like or in your PC that you could see, that is a discrete GPU. Do you think that DDR4 is still better than DDR5 for FPS games? Oh, that's been, oh man, like that's been like we've been saying that DDR5 is better. The problem was like in regards to DDR5 is like nobody knew like how to tune DDR5. Like on some of our builds, like we've been getting like these DDR5 kits to be way better than DDR4. So much better. And that's in terms of 0.1% FPS. So basically when you're in a gunfight, it is way better than being on DDR4 because you could take in more bandwidth. And your system is just so much smoother when you have that, like when you have more cache, L3 cache, when you have more bandwidth that your RAM can handle, when you have lower like it doesn't have lower latency or IDA latency, but it's generally more fair balance than DDR4. So yes, DDR4 is outdated. DDR5 is 100% better when tuned. When it's not tuned, not there yet. Maybe the 7200 megahertz might be there, but it's not there yet for sure. Just give it like a couple months and it might be there. Adrian, what's going on, boss? Let's see. Would it be worth it to change my 12700KF to a 5800 X3D? No. Oh no. Oh no. No. That's way too much money. Just buy like a 4090 or something, dude. Because if you change from a Intel to a Ryzen, like you might as well just build a new PC. That's like you have to change your motherboard, you have to change your CPU. So that's like, what is that? That's like $1,000 right there. So like you're $500 off of like a 4090 right there. So you might just buy a 4090, sell your 3090 for like $700. So that's like $1,700 that you have in your pocket. That's enough for a 4090 right there. Boom. Would you recommend an optimization of upgrading if I have a 2900K and a 3090 Ti? Yes, 100%. So like that's what it's for, right? So you don't have to you don't have to upgrade. Like there's a lot more. I believe in one of our past streams, like we did the price to performance of like optimizations versus like PC upgrades and stuff like that. Like you can get a lot like out of it for sure. Especially like with your kind of system, like a 2900K and a 3090 Ti, that is like made for overclocking. So like you should have that overclocked. When are you guys gonna put up some beast FPS builds on the site with some 4090s? So basically the way to get on the 4090 list right now is basically you just DM SENSEQUALITY on Twitter. But I believe tomorrow we should have the site live where you can pre-order 4090 builds. So look out tomorrow and you should be able to like select it for your FPS demon and stuff like that. FPS, the latency is lower on DDR4 though and has better 1% lows from what I've seen. Rasa, but yeah, we tested that and we've actually, like, I think it's just like it's not fair because we know how to tune like RAM. So like stock or XMP DDR4 is better for now, right? Until the 7200 megahertz come out. But when tuned, like if I tune both DDR4 and DDR5, I can get the DDR5 better. And we're just like pushing the DDR5 to extremes. But that's the difference here, and it's gonna be way better than 0.1% lows, way better. Let's see, like what DDR4 did you try? We use 4400 megahertz CL17, 18, 18 kits, and we just tune it like crazy. So since I have a Ryzen system, I might as well just buy a whole new PC. Damn it! I'm currently rocking a 3700X and a 2070 Super. So like for you, like he has a Ryzen 3000, guys. So like let's think about this real quick before you just buy a whole new PC. So you have two options, like in that predicament, right? The number one option is this: you can just upgrade your Ryzen 3700X to a 5800X, 5800X 3D, and that's gonna boost your performance a lot. Or you could upgrade your GPU. I would recommend upgrading your CPU for sure, though. So that's number one: upgrading your CPU to a Ryzen 5800X 3D. Number two, you can use that PC. This is what a lot of like smart people do, and this is what we recommend a lot. You can use that PC as a streaming PC, and as you use that as a streaming PC, you could build a whole new PC with whatever you want in it. And that's what a lot of people do. But you have those two options, and I would probably take one of those paths. I would not like just build a whole new PC for no reason, but you can use a streaming PC like that 3700 and 2070 Super as a great streaming PC for years. And you could still buy like a whole new PC to have a dual PC setup. So that's what some people do. What RAM should I get for a 5900X? 3600 CL14 14 14. If you watch my previous video here about just what you're missing on your PC, you should see the exact DDR4 that we recommend, and that's what you should get for your 5900X. You can't get better. You can't get the latency lower though. That's what Warzone loves anyway. So it's not only about latency. So that's the thing. So it's more nuanced than that. Like that's what I mean. Like people focus on one number and stuff like that, and IDA latency is not the only thing that Warzone is like looking for. Warzone's looking for like latency, like IDA latency, of course, but also your bandwidth is huge. Like that is huge. Like in Warzone, when it comes to 0.1% lows, your L3 cache matters. How much L3 cache you have. That's why these CPUs are better than the previous gen CPUs because they have better L3 cache. Like the gigahertz of your cores matters. Like it's a lot of nuanced perspective. Like on a car, let's say on a car you have like the best transmission, right? And your RAM is your transmission. You can't base if this car is faster than the other car based on how fast that transmission switches gears alone. So, right? So like you can't base it off of that one aspect. Usually you have to take into full account of everything else. So you have to see the 0 to 60, what's like important, like are you doing like a roll like from 30, like what are you doing with it? In Warzone, like you're pretty much doing everything like with your PC. And I can tell you that yeah, bandwidth definitely matters in Warzone. L3 cache matters in Warzone. Latency, it matters, but your latency doesn't have to be low. It doesn't have to be as low, and you could still get better 0.1% lows than other RAM kit or DDR4 because of the other things that I'm like explaining here. So that's what you have to look for. The megahertz matter, like all of this stuff matters, like in general. What's good, Maze? How you doing? Let's see here. Bandwidth matters too for sure. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Bandwidth is overlooked. Like that's if you cut the bandwidth in half, like you'll just physically see like how your FPS just drops, flatlines. What's the best place to get rid of your current build? I want to avoid eBay fees. Trying to build a beast. Facebook Marketplace, guys. Oh my God, Facebook Marketplace is the GOAT when it comes to that. Just make sure you take cash, don't take PayPal. But yeah, Facebook Marketplace is that. Um, I see Java sometimes. Java, I think, is like a new thing. I'm not really sure about that. But Facebook Marketplace is usually like the best place to like sell PC parts in general. Fast. Let's see. Um, 3090 GPU, pair with the Intel 13 Gen plus 7200 megahertz RAM. Thought, yeah, you could do that. Nothing's wrong with that. I mean, yeah, I mean, like that, like when we're talking about that, like level of like PCs, guys, like a 13 Gen 7200 3090, like you're you're in like the 0.001% of PCs. So yeah, you can do that, and that shouldn't be like a huge issue. But yeah, the 4090 will get you like a little bit more frames. Let's see. I'm currently running a 5800X 2070 Super, 32 gigabytes CL14, but I want to upgrade the GPU. This thing keeps coming. Let's see here. So I'm considering waiting on AMD's GPU. Yeah, so that's I'm considering that as well. So basically, I'm not sure how fast AMD hasn't released anything in regards to like the speed of their GPUs. I know it's coming out in November. So we'll just have to wait and see. Like I really don't have any info like on how fast their GPUs is gonna be. And the one thing like I hope that's gonna come out of AMD is basically how do I say this? How do I say this? um how reliable it's going to be, because like last gen, the Ryzen, the Radeon 6000 GPUs, they had stuttering issues. So hopefully like this gen doesn't, and if this gen doesn't, then AMD might just open up, it just might open up the chambers, like unlock the door, like AMD might be it. But we're gonna just have to see and wait and just test like when it gets out. We really don't know until it comes. Let's see. Can't wait until I make my 1300K 4080 build. You think the 6400 megahertz RAM is going to be good? Yeah, the 6400 megahertz RAM, like it's really good. So you can also get the 6600 megahertz RAM if you want. But literally, you should be. I mean, like going up to that like kind of performance level, like you should be good with 6400. Like if that's because that's like the 6400 and 6600 is the best out right now. The 7200 megahertz RAM is not out yet, from what I know. If anybody sees that it's out, like please send me a link. I'll buy it immediately. um, let's see. Pushing. I'm not sure on the price here. I can't tell you. Um, can't wait to. Let's see. Should I try to get a cheap 3090 or wait for the AMD GPUs and see how the price lands? So it all depends on like your budget and stuff. I think the 3090s are going to be a little bit more cheaper than what it is right now. I'm not sure of like the price right now. I think it's like $900 or something like that. So it's already a great price, but like if you want to wait, you can. But let me think about this. I always like seeing what like all the new gen like has out first and then like buying like my PC. Cause this time, guys, like this is not like the other times like of last year or like the beginning of this year, where it's like this is not like the beginning of this year where it's like, oh, like your upgrade's gonna be useless in a few months, right? Like it's not like that. Like it's not gonna be a new gen like next gen and stuff like that for like GPUs alone. Like that's what I'm talking about. So this is a great time to upgrade or like build a new PC, like in my opinion. So if you're gonna do it, like now's the time to probably do it. And yes, you are right. It's better to like look out of the landscape and just pick like which one's the best. And I'm gonna be making content about that coming soon, so you should be able to see that coming soon. So just make sure that you check that out. Mm-mm-mm. Is 4000 CL 182222 good timings for RAM? No, because it has too much. So on DDR5 that doesn't matter, but like on DDR4, usually great timings are CL 14, 14, 14, 14, 15, 15, 17, 18, 18, 16, 16, 16. Notice it's 0 or 1 number of a difference. from the first number. So 18, 18, 19, 19 would be like some kind of DDR4 kit, right? So that's how I usually tell. Sometimes that's not always like the accurate answer, but 99% of the times that's like B die RAM right there. If it's going 0 to 1 number of a difference. So like 18, 19, 19 kits are probably B die. 14, 15, 15 kits are B die. 14, 14, 14 kits are B die. So that would probably be the RAM that I would go with. Like 4000 at 4000, CL14, no, CL16, 16, 16 are usually B die kits or well priced B die kits. What's your opinion on resize bar, on or off? A lot of games don't use it. A lot of games do use it. Warzone, I don't believe uses it yet. It might use it in like Warzone 2 and stuff. So if you're playing Warzone, it really doesn't make that much of a difference, but you should have it on. Like generally, you should have that on for sure. So then get a 5800X and keep the 2070 Super. Yeah, you could do that. It's just because I just stream every now and then just for fun. Yeah, that would be like a great upgrade for you, Scoop. That would be a great upgrade. I have a DDR5 5600 CL36. Should I upgrade? Yeah, George. Yeah. I don't know what CPU you have, but yeah, you should definitely upgrade. How long does it take for a PC to deliver from you? Usually, I believe we were like fast this year. Like we were getting it out in like 1 to 2 weeks. But since this is a new generation of PCs, guys, it's gonna take some time. I'm gonna tell you right now, like if you're looking for like a PC, like the fastest PC possible. What's that swing thing in the background? I'll send you a link to that, dude. Like every that's literally the hack right there. I love that thing. But I'll tell you right now, we're probably not going to be the fastest to get you a PC, right? I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to sell you guys a PC and like get it to you guys like the fastest. That's not my goal. I'm trying to get you the best performing PC possible. And that takes time. Like that's not just like, oh, like I got the parts today. Let me just ship it out now. That takes time for us to kind of like get it tuned, do like the stress test, be very careful with it, package it well, send it out to you. So it does take some time, but like you could just ask the people that's gotten our PCs before, like on Twitter and stuff. It's like well worth it, like for sure, 100%. They all love it, but literally, we're not gonna be the fastest for sure because one, we don't have like a distributor. Number two, like we're very, very focused on like performance over everything this year, performance and consistency over everything. So we're definitely not gonna be the fastest. If you are looking for the fastest, like there's like Newegg that you could get it from. If you are looking for the fastest, what you can do is probably buy your GPU, like buy a 4090. I'll tell you the guys the hack. This is what somebody actually did. He went to Micro Center, he bought a 4090, and he's sending a 4090 to us. Like he's sending his 4090 to us. So basically, like what we're gonna do is build a PC and everything like that. Like structure it and send it out, and he's gonna get his like faster than everybody else because he already has his 4090. But that's because like he was able to get like the allocation. So if you're able to get like your own GPU, like we can send it out way quicker, like so much quicker. But if you're like relying on us to get a GPU, it's gonna take just a little bit like longer, just a little bit. Oh yeah, ask Devar. Like he actually got a PC from us. Like, like speaking of the devil, yeah, he actually got. He could tell you exactly how the process goes down. So if you want to ask anybody, ask Devar. He knows exactly how it is. Let me see. I got my 4090 for 1700. Is that a good price? Yeah, that's a really good price. Yeah, that's retail. Yep. I was planning on getting PC optimization for Modern Warfare 2. Should I wait till the game comes out? I wasn't sure how your service works. So you can. It's not required, but you can. What we're doing for Modern Warfare 2 is like I usually post content like regarding like the game itself. So like there's stuff like outside of Modern Warfare 2 that we optimize in general that's probably more important than optimizing the game itself because we're not only like some people for some reason think we just like lower your settings and like that's it. Like we're not really like messing a lot with your settings on Modern Warfare 2 unless it's outside of it. Like so for example, like you saw this folder right here, like we were the first ones to like tell you to do this, switch your cores and stuff like that. Like we're going to do all of that for you. But I'm going to post content about that. So like you don't have to wait if you don't want to. Like you could get like your full FPS right now. and then you'll see my content and you can just like apply that too. So, or you can just wait and like be safe in case like we miss anything. So it's just all depending on you. It doesn't really matter which one you do or not, because the game itself, guys, like it doesn't dictate a lot of like we all we have to know is what the game likes, and that's what we base it on. And what is your PC, and what we have to do to make that the fastest. Like that's how we base like our optimizations and stuff. Let's see. Boom. When I look up at DDR4 3600, all I get is boom. Oh, Prometheus, watch my previous video and you should see that in the description right there. So I have it linked in the description. Wraith, but what I would say is I would probably, if that was me, I would probably get it now because, and the only reason I'm saying that is because when games, like when the beta hit, like we were extremely busy. We couldn't really take anybody like 3 days later, 4 days later, a week later. Now it's kind of like the slowdown of the tide time, right? So you get more, allocation to you. But when that Modern Warfare 2 hits, like everybody's going to be spamming. Like everybody's basically going to be like trying to order and stuff like that. So if you want more attention to detail and stuff like that, I would probably get it now. And that's not by design. That's just by just knowing how it's going to be like when Modern Warfare 2 comes out. Like I just know it's just going to be crazy when Modern Warfare 2 comes out. Let's see here. What do you think of Black Friday will have to offer for PC component deals? Probably no markdowns on new CPUs or GPUs. But you think good RAM and motherboard out? Listen, guys, PC parts, you probably like during this little era coming up to like after the scalping thing, after like crypto crash and stuff, to now, you probably seen the best prices that you're gonna see for a long, long time. Because what's about to happen is like, first of all, when it comes to memory, DDR4 is probably gonna get more expensive because manufacturers are switching over to DDR5. So there's not gonna be a lot of DDR4 out there, so it's gonna be like a little bit more expensive, right? CPUs in general, like you've seen the price of those, like those are very expensive still. Motherboards are more expensive now than ever, like for the new gen and stuff like that, and it's gonna get even more expensive. Graphics cards, they're still like pretty expensive too. Like it's getting to like the old gen is always gonna be like a steal, right? But the new gen, it's gonna be expensive as can be because this isn't a normal PC year. This is like the Super Bowl of like PCs. Like the Super Bowl happens every 2 or 3 years, like for PCs, right? So this is like the Super Bowl year of PCs where everybody's showing their new stuff, like Intel, AMD, Nvidia, they're all showing their new stuff, right? This is that year. So things are gonna be very expensive. So I wouldn't look at too much deals coming soon, maybe on mid parts, but like not the great parts. And coming January, like if you're looking to build a PC or like buy a PC or something, I would probably buy it before January. And the only reason I'm saying that is because of tariffs. So like whatever like you're paying for a GPU now, it might increase by $200, like because tariffs. So everything's gonna get more expensive next year because of just the tariffs we have in our system. That's just an economy thing. I don't know too much about that, but it's gonna increase in price. So if you're looking for a PC for a new gen, I would probably buy it from now until December for the best bang for your buck pricing possible. After January, oh man, if you think prices are expensive now, you're gonna see January hit and it's just gonna be insane. So just keep in mind about that. Like one of my friends told me about that. So keep that in mind. That is a huge thing that people aren't thinking about. Is the optimization package still worth it for people who don't have overclockable chips? Dakota, like we can boost your FPS when it comes to that, but I would say it's not worth it. Like just watch with non-overclockable chips, just watch my content. Just watch, like go on Twitter, like just follow everything that I did on Twitter and stuff like that. And that should do it for the most part until I would rather you, instead of me like taking your money and you getting like part of our service, I would rather you go get a CPU that can get overclocked than get our service. Like I want the best for you. So literally like that's what my content is for right now. So go watch that, like let that hold you over until you get your new CPU, you get enough money to save up for the optimization, and then like enjoy like your gaming experience. I wouldn't like say, yeah, heck yeah, dude, like we could boost your FPS 100% because we're not giving you that full service if you don't have an overclockable chip, right? So that's just my experience with it. I like if I had a non-overclockable chip, that's what I would do. So I'm just telling you honestly, like what I would do in general. One of my friends has a monster build from you. He asked if he could swap the 3090 Ti for the 4090. 3090 Ti, oh, the 3090 for the 4090. Yeah, so that's that's a great point, Rice. Hold that thought, Rice. Hold that thought. Hold that thought right there. That is a great point. That is a great point, Rice. Because this is why our PCs are expensive, Rice. You know why our PCs are expensive, Rice? Because your friend can do that without any issues. He can swap to a 4090, no problem. He doesn't have to switch his cooler. He doesn't have to switch his case. He doesn't have to switch, unless he got like a really small case. He doesn't have to switch his like power supply. He doesn't have to switch his motherboard. Everything is already the best parts that he can get. So if he wanted to upgrade to that 4090, he doesn't have to buy a new power supply like a lot of people have to do now. He doesn't have to buy like new RAM to keep up with it. He doesn't have to buy a new CPU. He is good. That is the reason why we put all the best parts in our PCs. Even if you get like a starter PC from us, I still put an 850 watt power supply in it. Because let's say like you got a starter PC because you don't have the money right now to get like a high-end PC. Okay, if you got a starter PC with like a 12700K, let's say, right? Okay, you can buy a 4090 and you can put it in that starter PC. Guess what? You have a really good PC now. That's why our PCs are a little bit more expensive than others, because we want to give you the option to do that and have the best performance possible from that. And now you guys are kind of seeing like where everything links up. A lot of people just look at like our pricing and stuff like that, and they're like, why would I get this? Like when I could just go on Newegg and buy like this pre-built PC for this price? It's because everything's already done for you, number one, and plus your parts are upgradable. Like there's no question about it. Like I know, I checked for this personally. Is T-Force RAM BDI? No, T-Force RAM that my previous video has, that's Hynix. So a lot of DDR4 RAM, and I went through this in my. If you want like a overview of RAM, go check my latest YouTube video, guys. It has all of that for you, and I go through all of this for you for sure. But Hynix is DDR5. It's the best for DDR5. BDI is the best for DDR4. So you want to base it off this. Let me see if CPU-Z actually does this. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. Does it say here? So if you look at DRAM manufacturer, mine says Samsung right now. So this is BDI, right? Like I have BDI in like this PC, like my streaming PC. I don't know why. But I have BDI in this PC. So this is very good. 1414. Why do I have 14 kits on my streaming PC? I don't know. But even with the streaming PCs, we go all out. But you could see all the timings here. CPU-Z, SPD. You could see the DRAM manufacturer here. And you can see if it's single rank, dual rank, and everything like that. So this is the most important things you have to look for. There's another way to check it, but you don't really have to go that deep. I posted all the links of BDI, guaranteed BDI and Hynix RAM in my previous video. So if you want to just know a general basis of it, I would definitely go check that out. Is 5800X3D an overclockable chip? No, it is not overclockable in terms of CPU overclock. However, it highly benefits from a RAM tuning overclock, which is what we do too. So we've overclocked a lot of 5800X3D chips. So we kind of know our way around it. But you have to be very, very careful with a 5800 X3D. You can't just do a normal overclock. Is my 3070 chalked for Warzone 2? Hello, my brother? Guys, did he just say a 3070 is chalked? Guys, again, and this might be my fault because I'm always hyping up this new products. Again, guys, like a 3070 is like the 0.1% of gamers, probably, or the 2% of gamers, right? Like you are on in the upper echelon of gamers. Like if this was like a ranking system, like you're probably like a priest or a priestess, right? Like you're up there for sure. Like you got money if you got a 3070. The most general or most used GPU in Steam is a 1060. So literally a 3070 is pretty much good. It's good for Warzone 2. Now, it depends what you mean. Is it chalk? Like, do you want 200 FPS like on 1440p? It might be chalked. Like it might not be able to do that, but it's still very good. It's still a very good like GPU in general. Wasn't aware of that. I was planning on January to build. This might change things. Yeah, guys, if you are looking, and I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, guys. Just give me 1 second. If you're looking to build, or you're looking to buy a build or something like that, like I'm giving you guys a sauce. Buy it before January. January is when a whole bunch of like tier ups take place because of some conflict or something like that. And it's gonna be very expensive, guys. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. It's gonna be very, very expensive. So if you're looking to build, definitely build it before January, or pick whatever you're getting before January. Buy it before January. I know what I'm telling you. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna be right back, guys. I'm gonna put on some music real quick. Give me 5 minutes while I use the restroom real quick. Please ask any questions that you have in the chat. I'm gonna be able to answer them. Now it's like real Q&A time. So any question that you guys have, like that you want to go over, let me know and we'll answer them. No problem here. So give me 1 second.
pharmaceuticals, bought me charm like the jeweler Jews. Squares of ice shed light.
Cool. I'm back. All right, so let me actually. You know what was the one best thing that I've ever gotten, guys? Grammarly. Grammarly just hits different. Did I buy? All right, done. All right, perfect. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Best DDR5 RAM kits, G-Scale low latency ones. All I'm gonna say is it's very close. We've been testing the DDR5 T-Force and the G-Scales back and forth. I'm gonna have a definite answer for you this week. Definitely gonna have an answer for you this week. But the go-to, the GOATs, the 7,000 megahertz, no problem, able to boot on a 12900K. The Dan data, that, like, you are you, but he is him. He is him.
You can't take him out. He's different. He's not the same. You are you, but he is him.
He is him. This guy. It's 6,400 megahertz. Now, like, this is where our tuning comes in because most people aren't going to see the benefits from this. This is 6,400 megahertz CL 40 84. However, as I said, these RAM kits are all literally the same. So I can tune this like very, way quicker than the G-Scales already, which is crazy. Let's see. For gaming in general, what would you recommend plugging in any extra monitors, not into the primary, into the integrated graphics card in order to alleviate stress on the GPU? Very good question, Tech. Very good question. He has asked, for gaming in general, would you recommend plugging in any extra monitors, not the primary, into the integrated graphics in order to alleviate stress from the GPU? Number one, what are you doing on those monitors? Are they just showing Discord? If they're just showing Discord, just have it on your normal GPU. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you can add an extra monitor, you're fine. Like, it's 3 FPS, dude. Like, you know, like you don't want to decrease like your overall like experience that much, right? Like, it's not that serious. So definitely, like, I like to have all my monitors personally on my main GPU, just because it makes things easier. Especially, and I disable. I'm gonna keep it a buck, guys. Like, I disable if I have an integrated GPU. I disable that because if something is on your integrated GPU, which a lot of people don't know, if something is on your integrated GPU, it's still taking performance off of your CPU. Remember when I was talking about CPU overhead and stuff? Well, that relates to an integrated GPU. It's on your CPU. Like, it has to go through it in order to function correctly, right? So a lot of integrated GPUs have some type of CPU overhead that comes with it that is not worth you putting a monitor on it. And that's just like my opinion. Sometimes it works, but like most of the time it doesn't. Reverend, I hope you're up by 10 tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna be up. 8 hours of sleep, easy. I have a 10850K. Oh, Reverend, you have. Oh my God, listen. You're gonna have 2 full-time weeks right here. Easy peasy. Yo, what's good, Triples? Did you have a question?
Yo, what's up, man? It's kind of not like FPS specific or any like PC optimizations.
Okay,
Ask about like what you do for a living. Like, I'm doing my bachelor's of science in computer science right now. I just wanted to see
cool.
like what my options are after I finish college, and just thought I'd get some inspiration from you.
Cool. What year are you in?
I'm a senior right now.
You're a senior? What are you looking to do?
I really don't know yet, but I just find like PC optimization like really interesting. So I just wanted to see if you
What's your
can
goals?
direction. Um, really just want to work like full time, just get like a regular like 9 to 5. But if it's something fun like this or something we're more interested in, I wouldn't
Like
really
in five
really worry
years,
about
like
the
what do
hours.
you see yourself doing?
Oh man, in 5 years,
Yeah.
I really couldn't tell you.
So so that would be the first, like you have to start at the end. Like
Mm,
um that would be your first step. So it sounds like, which this happens to like a lot of people, like in college. Like when I was in college, I went through the same exact thing.
mm,
And I'll tell you this right now, like um basically college is about this. College is about knowing, like college is about you being able to dedicate 4 years of your life to something. Number one. Number two, what college is about is basically like understanding that you don't need college in order to succeed, right? Like so basically
mm,
like that's the two main things that you should get out of college, and being able to have like a computer science degree or a relevant degree. Don't go in for like journalism or something like that, right? So you already did
mm,
good on that part. So you have like a lot of stuff opened up for you. But like it's coming down to the grind, and it sounds like have you like tried different fields, cybersecurity? Have you tried like biomedical, like engineering? Like have you tried like chemical engineering? Have you tried like SaaS, like just working at Google or like working at a SaaS company that's like a startup or something like that? Have you tried any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I did a few internships for the Air Force. I kind of like hopped around. I tried artificial intelligence for a while. I tried hard coding for a while, but everything was like it all like at the end of the day felt the same to me. But I just want to see like if like Sense Quality was doing anything with like internships or um maybe if there's like any like career ideas that I can like grab from you that might be exciting.
Yeah, so for sure. So basically, like if you're a computer science, like if you know how to code and stuff like that, the code that you would need to learn is basically C sharp and C plus plus. So
Mm,
that's where it would function, like where you can like use it like on a Windows like effectively and stuff, and probably
mm,
JavaScript. But it's all depending on what is your goals. So basically, like if you know, like if you've been in the trenches, like if you've been in like optimization trenches and stuff like that, like you try to like start a company by yourself, you know
mm,
that this is like the place for you and stuff, then that's what I would focus on.
mm,
And that's like where we would like open up an internship. But like if if you're looking for like the most money in general, this is, yeah, this is a lucrative place, but there is other lucrative like there is other lucrative like business or industries, right? So guys, like
mm,
one thing you have to realize about anything that you pick, and this is like a life like lesson that I learned, like now I'm learning this, and it's probably going to save you guys like a ton of time, is it's not about how hard you row the boat or how hard you work. It's about what boat you are in. Like that's the number one thing. So if your industry is booming, like let's say AI, and you're like the top 10% of like AI like engineers, right? I know a lot of those
mm,
guys. They are literally rolling in money right now, right? In this industry, in like the PC industry, this might not be the industry for you if you're looking to like do a startup or anything like that, or like do anything regarding PCs, unless you're doing some kind of AI, because like the overall PC gaming, like PC tech right now is decreasing. Like it's a decreasing marketplace, right? So it might not be for you, like if you're looking for like a marketplace that you're looking to do for the next 30 to 40 years, right?
mm,
So that's like what I would think of. Like the first thing I would think of is what's your goal? Like what's like the end goal? What do you see yourself doing? What do you see yourself loving? The second thing I would probably do, like if I was you, is I would legitimately like try to intern or like just volunteer at any company possible, like you just did, like with Sense Quality. Like I might just have you sit in just to see how it is, but like
Mm,
volunteer at any company possible because like for you right now, like it's pivotal that you know the exact industry that you're in because a lot of people come out and like they're I see a lot of computer engineers like or computer science guys that are like very depressed because they thought people do like stuff for money a lot. And
mm,
like computer science is like one way to get money, right? Like you can code and all that stuff. But
mhm.
a lot of those guys or it does money doesn't mean anything if you're not like happy making it, right? Like that's the whole point of money, right? So literally like just try as much industries as possible. It doesn't seem like you tried enough yet because if you did try enough, then you would probably know exactly what industry you want to get into. I know that you like tech and like gaming and stuff like that. Are you a gamer?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, gotcha. Have you ever like volunteered at like a gaming studio like Treyarch or something?
No, I haven't.
So I would see like if you like that, that is a very like rugged industry, but like literally that's a opening right there. I know a lot of cool like game developers and stuff that could probably
Mm,
get you in contact with. But yeah, dude, like you gotta I can't answer the question of like how you get into this marketplace. To be honest, in 99% of like the marketplaces that you see that everybody says like you need a degree and stuff like that, you really don't because they don't teach you what you need to know like in college. Like you get it
right.
all by like 95% of it hands-on experience, right? You probably saw that with AI and everything like that. Like in
Mhm,
school, like the AI guys that like work at Google, Facebook and all that stuff that I know, like they all tell me that basically all the stuff that the AI guys are doing in college, unless like you're in a PhD or master's program, is like years old. Like it's very old. So it's not applicable to the real world. So like you really got to get into the grind of something, and just go out there and like fail like a lot, and just learn every time. So that's what I would do. I wish I was in your position, like repicking like industry right now. Like you have no idea how much opportunity you have. So like just take that
mm,
into account. Just make sure that you do not like I know you probably want like the $1 million like a year. You want like like the nice girlfriend, you want the nice house and stuff like that. We all do. But I'm telling you, man, like it's more about like doing what you love to do every day.
mhm.
That goes over anything. And if computer science, like if you can't get that for computer science, don't be afraid to go anywhere else because what's gonna the last thing I'm gonna say is the one thing that's gonna make you the best, like that 1% earner in any industry, is you like having having the grit to be able to get up and just do that thing that you want to do. And it's easier to get up to do that like those little tasks that you want to do if you're in love with it, right? So like I had to
Mhm,
get up at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. sometimes, like and help like top streamers and stuff, like when I was like growing my business. And
mhm.
I wouldn't have done that if I like didn't love what I do, right? Like I would just been like, oh, whatever, like I could do it tomorrow, right? But that's why I would say like go into an industry that you love and you just got to try a whole bunch of stuff. And like even if it takes you 2 years, like it doesn't matter. Like try for as long as possible until you find something
Mhm.
like you really like. What I would suggest if you can't find something you like, go into something lucrative like AI or like SaaS industries, like learn how startups work, go to Google, Microsoft, Fang, whatever you want to do. And
Mhm.
then like with that money, like you can allocate it to something you love to do. So that's what a lot of people do as well.
Gotcha.
So that's like if you wanna like just like shout out me and stuff like that just to see how it is throughout the day, you could definitely do that. But like business, like when you like actually see it like from the outside, it's more of like a human to human thing. Like people in
Mhm,
coding, what they get wrong is this. Like people in coding, they always like think like it's in the code, like I have to fix the code to make sure like people like buy my SaaS or like my plan or my subscription and stuff. But it's like 90% you and like you communicating with another human. And it's like 10% the code. Like I can tell you that right now. Unless like you're Google or Apple or something.
mhm,
So yeah, man. Like if you definitely DM me, like I'll have you like sit in for sure, like on one of my days, like that I'm busy, just to see if like you like the industry, and then we could talk
mhm.
more from there. But definitely explore like way more, man. Like you gotta Like if you're in senior year, you gotta like be every day shadowing something, like shadow doctors. Like you actually have like a really great chance to go to medical school right now that you don't know. Because medical schools, like I went to college for a biomed major, and it was actually better if I went as a computer science major because medical schools like when you're different. Like people like being like when people are different. So if you apply to medical school, you could probably get in if you have really good grades and you just did the prerequisites. So your options are still more open than you think. So you could definitely go to medical school if you wanted to be a doctor. You could definitely go to dentistry school. Like you do all this stuff, like your whole life's out of you, dude. So definitely like just scout out the industries, scout out lucrative industries. Don't join dying industries, right? And then from there, like do your 10-year like grind and you should be good, dude. That's my recommendation. But definitely DM me and like I'll have you like just overview a day of like what I do and stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you so much, man. I
Hey,
appreciate
no
it.
problem, man.
Have a good one.
All right, so let's see here. Yeah, chat. Like I wish somebody told me that, chat. Like to be honest, like that's why I told him all that. Because I wish somebody told me that when I first got in college, or if I was a senior in college. Like that's what I wish I knew. Like that information right there. Like it's not about how hard you row the boat. It's not about how hard you work. It's about what boat you are in, right? So like that's the number one thing when it comes to making money, when it comes to doing something you love, like being in an industry, like you're only as good as your industry, right? If I had a choice, like, or if I had a pivot, I would probably get into like just AI or something like that, like with an AI SaaS or something. I don't know, like something like that. Like if this business failed tomorrow, that's probably what I would get into. But literally, it's only as good as like you're only as good as your industry. Let's see. I plan on using O11 Dynamic Evo for my build and Arctic Freeze 360 IO. Where should I mount the radiator? Top or side? Top, 100% top. Should I switch from a 5600X over a 1200K, or just go with a 5800X 3D? You should just go with a 5800X 3D. Why would you go with a 12700K? No. Save money, guys. Don't have to do that. 5800X 3D and like with the extra money that you were gonna pay with a motherboard, you just get optimization with that. Boom, done. Or like RAM if you wanted to. Right now, Microsoft is giving away 32 gigabytes, 5600 with a new purchase of Ryzen CPUs plus $20 off and $10 off 980. Guys, look what this guy said. This is not against you, Neil. This is not against you. Actually, I like your name. I like your name a lot, right? Let me just put this here. Do I not have the chat? Hold up. Did we not have chat this whole time? Oh no, that's not gonna work. Is there a way to put this in dark mode? Bro, they literally have a plugin for everything. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. I like that. All right. Okay. So you guys think I was capping about the PC thing and the distributor thing. Let me read this. Right now, Micro Center is giving away 32 gigabytes of DDR5, 5600 CL36 mid with the purchase of a new Ryzen CPU. So something you want with something that's mid. Remember we talked about this? Didn't we just talk about this earlier, chat? Plus $20 off a motherboard and $10 off a Samsung 980. So what's happening on the back end? Micro Center's like, look, I want all of these. I want all of these CPUs that you have. I want like 200 of them. The distributor's like, okay, like you can have 200 of them, but you're gonna have to take this 5600 megahertz RAM. That's mid. You're gonna have to take this motherboard and you're gonna have to take some Samsung 980s. Like, oh, I'll just throw you that, right? That's good, right? And Micro Center's like, hell yeah, like screw it, because the normal gamer is not gonna know that 5600 is mid. I mean, you could probably clock it higher. I'm not sure if it's Samsung or Hynix or whatever, but most gamers are not going to do that. You should have 6000 megahertz with these new CPUs. That's what AMD recommends. So this is mid products with sought after products, so the distributors could win. And this is exactly what I was warning you guys about. This kind of stuff right here. I love Micro Center, but this is an example right here. This is an example of what I was telling you what happens in the back end with computer parts, because they have to make their margins. Let's see, what earbuds are you using? I'm actually not sure. I think it's K2s. Let me search it up for you. I just bought it here. I just bought these earbuds, guys, not because it's great sound quality or anything like that, even though I like them. I literally bought them because it's more like, I don't like being on stream with like big ear cuffs like on my head, right? Like that doesn't look normal to like a average viewer. Like I like earbuds like this or like earpods because I look like a normal human being, not like a gamer, right? So that's like why I bought these. But I believe they're called K2s. K2 earbuds. Yeah, these right here. These are fire. These are fire. And they sound good too. These right here sound really good. So if you're looking for earbuds, like these hit different. I have the black ones though. So let's see here. Quick question. Do you think it's worth getting a 4080 or do I get something like a 3080 instead? It depends. So he said, is it worth getting a 4080, 4090 or a 3080, right? What is your budget? If your budget allows you to get a 4080, get the 4080. If your budget doesn't, then get the 3080. Like do whatever that's within your budget. But yeah, a 4080 over a 3080 any day for sure. I'm in North America. I am in the United States. Do they have them on Newegg? Let me see. Where's the DDR5? I'm checking for you guys now to see if they have it. Back ordered. Oof. So here's the link right here. So let me save this link for you guys in the Google Sheet. And this is out of stock. Do they have it anywhere else? This is the sought after RAM. $6,600. I think the only place you could get them, Miami Micro. Hold on. No way. What? Hold up. This is near me. I'm going here tomorrow, guys. $30 series. What the hell? I'm going here tomorrow, boys. I didn't even know they had that. Okay. Let's see. Micro Center. Please. Yeah, so the T-Force, like, you definitely can't get it. I think the unreleased 12 gigabyte one or something like that. Yeah, Uzi, then get the unreleased one. Get that one for sure. That's like a 3090 Ti equivalent. What is the 5800X 3D compared to the new CPU's performance rise? It is very close. It is very close. Like it's probably 10 to 15 FPS off. Maybe 10 to 20 in some areas. So like think about it like that. It's 10 to 15 FPS off the 7950X in some areas. Some areas it's the exact same. But we're gonna do like a test. Like we have 7950X is like here. I think I literally have one right here. We're gonna do tests with these tomorrow, so you guys could have them for sure. Not surprised you're not using your AirPods 2s. Yeah, I can't find them. That's why I can't find them. Is the 5950X good with the 4090 on 1440p? Yeah, I mean 100%. No, your 1080 50K is fine. Yo, King is live. Let's go. Yo, what's good, Oriana? How you doing? Oh my god, we just got an influx of people out of nowhere. Is it possible to order an FPS demon with no GPU and I can't plop in a 3080 Ti myself? Yeah. Yeah. So like guys, like if you want to do stuff like that, I'm gonna talk to you in a minute slow. I'm gonna talk to you in 1 second slow. If you want to do stuff like that, guys, then definitely just DM at SenseQuality on Twitter. What I'll do is if you want to make custom orders like that, that is the best place to contact us, or contact support at sensequality.com and we got you. So basically, Sense Quality, right? Boom, bang. Let me post this here. So just DM that. And if you want to email, support at sensequality.com. That's our email. So literally, like if you want any kind of custom order like that, you want an FPS demon with just no GPU in it and stuff, or you already have a 4090 and you want to make an FPS demon, you want us to tune it and everything, basically we can do that for you guys. Anything that'll help you guys. So literally that's gonna work perfectly fine. Your GPU bound at 1440p. Am I able to send links? Echo, links of what? When's the new AMD 3Ds releasing? Next year. It should release next year. Just around February, March. For someone looking to upgrade their RAM for Warzone, what would you recommend? 32 gigabytes of what kind of RAM? Watch my previous video, Pat. I have an exact video about that. Just watch that one and you should be good. I want to place all 9 of my QL fans for Lee and Lee ones. Do they look? Do I do it because they look better? No, don't do that. That is a waste of money. That is a waste of money right there. What you have to do. So I'm gonna go into this tomorrow. I was gonna make content about this tomorrow. That's why I have these here. So I'm thinking, guys, and let me know if this is a good idea. I'm thinking of making all FPS demons come with this fan. And a lot of PC manufacturers, like they use this because it's pretty and stuff like that. But this performs so much better than this one to the right of me, right? So this, if you look at it, let me, hold on, I'm not even. All right, so you guys can see this, right? If you look at this, do you see how this is plastic right here? See that plastic? And they did that for spite just so the RGB could look good and stuff like that, which is cool. But you see how that's like plastic? You see how you could bend it easily and stuff? Like, let me just show you guys. Like, see how I could bend that like real easily there? Like, it's just nothing. Like, it's easy, right? A little loose, right? And it's good, but it's not like the best, right? It's just the best looking. Then there's this bad boy. Same price. This bad boy. You see, if I try to bend it, I can't bend it. Do you see how the material looks? This material right here is definitely a lower profit margin than that other RAM fan that I just showed you. So this is non-RGB, but you can see that this is higher quality. This is a higher quality product. It's made to last. So I'm thinking of putting this in the FPS demons because you probably will get a higher increase in performance with this. Plus, it'll decrease the overall temperatures of like the RAM, so I could tune it higher. So I'm on like the side of like probably just putting these in FPS demons because it's not about RGB anymore, guys. And let me know if I'm wrong. Performance is number one, and these look pretty good, like in like the Lee and Lee cases, right? PC tunes take around just like 1 to 2 hours usually. When is RDNA 3 releasing? November. Oh, what did you have on your PC part picker, Echo? Do you expect a lot of changes with wardrobe? Do you expect a lot of changes with wardrobe? What do you mean, Ryan? Oh, Chris, that's you. Okay, okay. All right, so let me get to Chris real quick. Let's see. I got mine before lunch tomorrow. Oh, Demise, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Let me know how that goes, Demise. Let me know how that goes. Yo, Slow, what's good? What's good,
What's up,
Chris?
man? Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt your stream. I had no idea.
Oh, no, no, you're good. Did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I just I just built a 4090 system
Oh,
with a Intel i9 1200 or 12900K.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I just built it all, and it is. I mean, it runs the games good, but the startup is just god awful bad. And I was wondering if you guys offer a service that I can um, get in line and get it tuned because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, God dang, guys, I didn't really want to promote my business here, but basically, yeah, you can go to sensequality.com and like the PC tune. Basically, it covers all of that. Plus, it'll like improve your performance in general. So literally, like if you wanted like a quick service that will like boost your FPS and basically fix that startup for you, like we could do that way easy. Plus, it'll include like doing your streams and stuff like that and more. So like that will for sure. Like how fast is the startups? Like is it just like
It's
laggy a
just
little bit?
slow. It's just slow. And like I came off of um a digital storm computer,
Yeah.
and I'm upgrading everything. And I have the Western Digital Black 4 terabyte, no, what, 7200 RPM, 72 what terabytes a minute or whatever, 7200 RPM. It's running off of. I didn't install the Windows on the solid state drive, but just because I didn't want to. I put it on this, and I mean I can't imagine because my old drive was one of the Seagate Barracudas, which was not as good as this,
Uh-huh.
and it started straight up, and like it was fast as hell, and I
Uh
have no idea why it's
so
why it's
you don't
slow.
have Windows on your SSD?
No,
Oh, yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. Do you have a SSD?
yeah, well I have one. Yeah, I have that. What is it? M2 slot or whatever it is.
Yeah, M2 slot SSD.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is you probably want to install, yeah, you 100% you want to install like Windows on that SSD there, the M.2. Even if it means like installing your game on like something else, just because like that's probably like the issue that you have right there. Like I could tell you right now, like so the Seagate or like the what did you have? You had the four
I had the
terabyte.
Seagate Barracuda, the 2
Yeah.
terabyte, and it seemed to start up just fine. Like
Yep.
pretty, it was fast. And this new one, which is the Western Digital Black, which is what 3 times more expensive, seems to be slow as hell, and it's definitely faster.
Yeah, like and with your kind of PC, like this is where I need to start offering something with like PC like upgrades or like consultations and stuff because like with your kind of PC, I would say like you should never have because your PC is just so fast, right? You should never have you shouldn't have like a hard drive in there. Like your PC is just too fast for that. Like that is your main when you're like building a PC or when we're building a PC, like we're always asking what is like the lowest hanging fruit, like what's gonna be our bottleneck, and that is your bottleneck times 1,000, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
well, see, that's why
yeah,
I upgraded from the 3080
yep,
and the 10, I think it was the 10700
yeah,
Intel, and because I knew I was already getting about a 30% bottleneck off of that,
yep,
off that CPU. So I wanted to do this, and this said this was going to be, everything I read said this CPU, the
oh, it's gonna be
12,900K,
fast, yeah.
yeah, it's not going to bottleneck the 4090 like everything else. So it's like the highest recommended one right now. So
Yep.
that's what I put together.
Yeah, like and that's like 100% correct. Like just like the one major thing that's like slowing you down is that hard drive. Like I have a 4 terabyte hard drive in my PC and I'm very much thinking about just taking it out because it just slows down
So what do you
everything
just do? What
else.
do you do? You just put in a bigger M2, or you just go
Yep.
straight to a SATA
You go.
solid state drive?
So there's 4 terabyte SSDs now, M.2 SSDs now. So you can get a 4 terabyte SSD or put it in that second slot, M.2 slot if you want, and have one Windows in the first one, and it'll completely replace that Western Digital. I'm not sure why they're marketing Western Digital, marketing that a lot. I've been seeing that exact marketing, but literally, yeah, I would not have like a hard drive in there at all, or like a nothing but NVMe M.2 in there, because your system's just too fast for anything else. Like a hard drive's it's gonna beat the hard drive in the dust, and plus like the hard drive's gonna slow everything else down. And even like a regular SSD, I wouldn't even have it in there. Like to be honest, like that's how
Just
like
use all
strict.
M2 and get rid of everything
Yeah,
else.
yeah, that's yeah, got to do it. Yep, because that's just
Interesting.
gonna be, and you're gonna see the difference automatically, instantly.
And then how big of a difference maker is if I'm still using my DDR4
DDR
3200 instead of
3200.
DDR5?
So if you're on DDR4 platform, you definitely want. I have a video right before this. I just did a RAM video. Definitely get the DDR4 in that RAM video that I recommend, and that should work perfectly with your system. It's gonna make a difference in terms of how smooth your system feels. So like right now, your system's probably fast, but like it could be smoother. So you're probably getting great FPS, but it doesn't feel smooth, if you know what I mean. Like, it feels a little choppy, feels a little like
Dude, I
here
put
and
this
there.
together like 2 hours ago.
Oh, then yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, like
yeah,
honestly, I'm looking on the internet for a support area where I'm like, bro, I will pay somebody just to fix this for me because I'm
yeah,
beyond my wits end with it. But that makes a lot of sense with
yep.
the hard drive. But you don't think that the DDR4 is going to make that big of a difference? I mean, obviously a different
Um,
type of RAM, but you
it
really think am I?
will, but it should be like the last thing that you're worried about. So like the first step would be changing the hard drive, taking that out. The second step would be basically the DDR4, the RAM, 3600 CL14, 14, 14. The third step would be like if you want by then like do like the PC tune and stuff like that, just to make sure that every notch and every end of your system's like fully optimized and stuff. And then like you're solid, like 1200K, 4090, like you're rolling, right? Like this, like you're free. But basically, like until then, that's the 3 steps I would take just to improve like your performance, like overall.
So get all that stuff handled, then come back and have
Yep.
you guys will tune it up for my stream too. Then,
Yes, sir. Yep. And that's included. Yep.
all right, man, dude. I had no idea you were on. You were sitting here talking. I was when you said, "Hold on, I'm going to talk to you in a minute." I pulled up your stream and I've sitting
Yeah.
here been listening. So,
Yeah.
hey, dude, you're the shit, dude. I'll come back. I'm gonna continue listening, but I'm gonna order up this. I'm gonna throw another $600 or $500 at this and make it work.
Yeah.
You
I'm
know,
telling you, it's gonna be
I
worth
might
it, my
as
man.
well.
Because you've spent so much, like you might as well just get it over
Well,
with
I
and
bought the
just
4090 and I was like, oh, I'm going to throw it in my other machine. And I found out that I have a 30 or my 4090, I have a 3080
yeah.
Founders Edition that's 30% bottlenecked already.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh my god, if I throw this 4090 and it's going to be more bottlenecked. So I'm just like, all right, let's
Exactly.
build
Yep.
another machine. Here we go. You know.
Yeah, but you have all like the great components, like the very important components, like set. Just got to do like a little bit extra, and like that PC is gonna be rolling, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right. Awesome, man. Well, I will be back. I appreciate your information, especially just off the cuff here.
Hey, no problem, man.
And I'll get it booked up to get you to take care of my PC. So I appreciate you, dude.
Hey, no problem, boss. You have a great night.
Yeah, you too, man.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
All right, so let's see here. Is it possible to trade in a PC for a build, or is that not a thing? No. We definitely don't do that. So basically, yeah, that's one thing that we do not do. Because usually, like, we don't like selling used PCs. In general, the only used portion of the PC should be us tuning it, us testing the game for you, us testing like the overall like stability of the PC, and that's it. Nothing else. So that's usually how we roll, Craney. But what you can do is probably sell that PC on Facebook Marketplace and then use that money to buy like a new build. That's what I would recommend. Let's see. All right, so this guy's building a system here. Let's see here. Okay, so he wants my recommendation when it comes to this. All right, so let's see. So let me actually get the chat out of the way here. So 13900K, of course, that's gonna be amazing, cool. Cooler, not cool. I don't really like these coolers. I would probably go with like an NZXT Z73 if you're gonna spend this much. Gigabit, but they're all literally the same thing. Gigabit Z790. Not really. I would probably go with like an MSI motherboard, Z7090, or an Asus motherboard. I know they have a 2DIMM coming out, so that's gonna be my main system. Yeah, T-Force RAM, good. 2 terabytes, good. 4090, good. Evo, good. Power supply, gigabit. They had a huge power supply issue. I probably wouldn't go gigabit. I would probably go something like Seasonic. I would probably go 1300 watts on a PSU. You don't have to, but like that's what I would do because the 13900K eats so much performance. It's like a GPU of itself. Now SLfinity fans. Yeah, you could go with those. You should be good. Get some Lian Li streamers, and that should like round it out. But this is a good. I mean, like if you got all this stuff, it should be good. I would just make those little changes right there for sure. Boom. All right, so let's see. It sounds like he has Windows on a hard drive. Yep, you called it. You called it, Knight. Gotta have Windows on the SSD. Yeah, it's super fast. Let's see. Glad I found y'all actually. I didn't even know PCs can't be so much better, like much better optimized. Yeah, like a lot of people don't know this. Like it's actually mind blowing that people don't know this. Like, cause like the thing about it is, guys, like let's say you buy a sports car. Like there's certain sports cars. Most sports cars are made to be tuned. Like they could handle you pushing it to the limit, right? Like let's say you have like a turbo in it, like you could push it to the limit, especially if it has forged like internals and stuff like that. It's made to be pushed to the limit, right? Like that's why it's a sports car. Think of PCs as sports cars. This is not a regular like PC that you see at work and stuff like that. This is a sports car. Like this is a sports PC. It's the same thing. So you should be pushing these to the limit. That's why you're spending so much. Like a lot of people with 13, like the K or the KFs at the end of their CPU names, like 13900K, 12900K, 12700K, those all should be overclocked. The reason why you are spending more than a 12700 for a 12700K is to unlock and overclock that chip. So that's why I don't really get about PCs, like, and that's why I didn't really get about the industry, because literally PCs, like these gaming PCs, the only difference in pricing is because they want you to overclock it. Like that's why you see GPU, like MSI, OC, blah blah blah, and you see like Intel 13900Ks in PCs in general instead of like the 13900s, like unless they're trying to like finesse you, because they are expecting you to overclock it. Like, and that's like another thing I don't agree with like a lot of pre-built companies like with, because they're like, oh, you don't have to overclock your PC. Then why are you spending so much? Like if you're not gonna overclock your PC, you might as well just get like a regular old, like normal PC, like that's not gonna have to need overclock or anything like that. That's the reason why you're spending so much, to be able to overclock it. And that's why all the other components that isn't the RAM, CPU, and the GPU is very important, because you can't have a sports car with Honda Civic tires, right? It has to have sports like tires made for performance, right? Like you can't have a PC with a 13900K in a mid like cooling system. Like that's just not gonna work. Like you have to have the best of the best. And that's why like you see like a lot of our like FPS videos and stuff. We just get so much more just because we usually round it out with the best of the best stuff. Let's see here. KIRNEILL, what can I do to make my mic sound like really good, like a YouTuber? I actually have a video on that on my Twitter here. So can I pull it up real quick? Oh no. Oh no, that's not how to spell my name. Okay, so I think I recently posted this too. Let's see here. Wow. Wow, Twitter. It's like that. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Give me 1 second. Boom. I think I recently just posted this too. Here we go. Today, so I'm going to show you guys how to make your mic sound extremely professional, or how to tune your mic exactly how you want it to be, just like professional audiophiles, with this plugin here. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is basically you're going to want to go to reaper.fm/REA plugs. And I'm going to put that link down below here, but you're going to want to download whichever plugin that you want. I just download the 64 or the 32. So you would want to download this FST plugin suite here. After you do that and you fully download that, you're going to load up OBS, and I'm just going to disable the preview here. You're going to load up OBS, and you're going to have VST plugins enabled on your OBS. So all you would have to do is just click on your mic, the 3 little dots right here, go to filters, and then as you see I already have it added here, but I'll just add more for you guys. And then what you do is right click and then add a VST plugin. So this, I'm just going to name it VST plugin 3, and you can select any plugin that you want to use. I usually use like the re-EQ plugin, because that allows me to EQ my microphone exactly like professionals. You can do the same thing here. You can honestly copy my settings if you want to. And plus, I use the dehisser here because I didn't get that with my Go XLR since I have a Go XLR Mini. So you're getting almost everything that a Go XLR can do right within these plugins right here in regards to a microphone. So I hope this helps, guys, and I hope like you enhance like your OBS quality here, or your audio quality, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember that every microphone is different, so my settings might not work for you, so just tune it how you want to, and hope you enjoy your day here. That right there. All right, guys, so I'm gonna give you the absolute sauce today. So I'm gonna show you guys. Not again. All right, so that explained everything right there, boss. Let's see. M2 are not bad on the price now either. Yeah, M.2s are very affordable now. Oh wait, what did I miss? Having an HDD slows down your system even if you aren't running a game on it. Yes, slaps. It drastically slows down your system. Yeah, hard drives do slow down your PC. Because if you think about it, like, and I tested this, so let's say a portion of your RAM and just a portion of like your system is set up where you can find like all these files here, right? And Windows tries to track down all these files. So like, let's say I just search up PC tips. Look how slow this is with this hard drive in my system. You see how slow that is? It slows down your system, like because it has to go through that 4 terabyte of storage in order to just like search up all of this. When if I just had a 4 terabyte SSD, it would have been done 20 seconds ago. So it definitely slows down your system, even if it's not your main drive. It's not even my main drive, and it still slows down my system. That's why I never recommend hard drives in a very, very high tier system, ever. Rate and write speed not fast enough, computation power of a 1200K. Correct, exactly. Funny reading the comments, glad people are getting learnt. Yes, sir. Let's see here. Yo, KIRNEILL, I'm new to building PCs and just built My second one, however, I can't get it to turn on. I purchased a new power supply. It wasn't enough wattage, or something, and it still doesn't turn on. So that can be a lot of things, Nate. That could honestly be a lot of things. I would first check to make sure that everything, like your 24-pin motherboard connector, is connected to your power supply in general. I would check to make sure and reslot your CPU. I would make sure that you place the CPU cooler or the AIO on it correctly, just to make sure that's all good. You don't even have to turn on like or connect the GPU yet, and then try to turn it on like that. And plus, you have to make sure that the PC's like the motherboard CPU power has double 8 pins. So a lot of people use one 8 pin. You want two 8 pins, 16 pins. So as long as like you follow that, you should be good. Let me see if I can pull up a system. I don't know if I can pull up a system to show you or not. Let's say MSI motherboard. Unify X. Cool. So this is like a motherboard that I'm really familiar with, right? Okay. So let me just do this real quick. So if you're worried about power, this is what you do. If your PC is not turning on. All right, cool. So you want to make sure that your cooler is connected to one of these. So your cooler is connected to like a CPU fan or RAM fan or something. You want to make sure that these are connected. This is the 16 pin I was talking about. This is your 24 pin motherboard that you want to make sure is connected. If your cooler has a USB, you connect it somewhere down here, right? You want to make sure that your CPU is placed correctly in here. I'm not sure what CPU you have. Then you want to make sure that the cooler is connected correctly here, where it's tight and the CPU is not overheating and stuff. Then you want to make sure that your SSD is somewhere in here on the first slot. Your GPU should be here. Doesn't have to be if you're just trying to turn it on. And this all connects to your PSU, so your power supply. So PSU. So you want to make sure it's in the correct slot of your power supply. It'll usually mark VGA cables. VGA is GPU. VGA. This is your CPU cables. CPU. Then this is MOBO. Right? And this is really easy to check. And this should be like triple pin. So 1, 2, 3 if your GPU has that. And then like for the most part, like you should be able to turn it on right now. And then check if your motherboard has something like this, like an on switch, like right here, and you could turn it on like that. So I would check that. And if it's still not turning on, you want to make sure, this is one thing that I messed up when I was learning PCs for the first time. Somewhere here is how you connect your like PC. So your PC case has an on switch. You want to connect it to here. And this is the on switch and the restart switch, right? So you want to make sure, this is probably part of your problem. If these aren't connected right, then your PC won't turn on. So you want to make sure that these are connected in the right fashion. And the way you do that is you go on the motherboard site and you go to the motherboard manual, like just how I just did. And then you could see exactly how you connect everything. And that should be like how you do it. So I hope that helps, Nate. Let's see here. If I get a 4090, do you think upgrading my 5600X is a month? Would I get away with it? Or you'll get away with it, yeah. It should get you some pretty good FPS with a 5600X. It's just you're going to be CPU bottlenecked. Let's see. Do you think a 3090 Ti prices will go down upon the 4090 release? Yes, it 100% will. But it'll just go back up once January hits. So I should get a DDR4 CL141414 for my 10 to 850K. Yeah, that should work. Let's see here. I have a 3080 10 gigabyte. Should I upgrade to a 6900 XT or 3890? I wouldn't upgrade to either. I would probably, if you were planning to upgrade, I would probably try to upgrade to a 4090 or 4080. If you're not going that big, then I wouldn't really worry about upgrading. I looked at your last video, and can you show a great DDR4 RAM? So I think I have this in my last video. Let me see. Boom. So if I go to my YouTube, KIRNEILL. So you said DDR4. Damn, this has 1,000 views. What the hell? Okay, so DDR4 RAM.
Man, look at this cable bill.
Boom, right here. Bang. G-Skills 3600 DDR4. Right here. CL 14, 14, 14, 34. This is the best DDR4 RAM. Oh, so get the DDR4 for that. You don't have to get the 4000s. Because sometimes they don't work if you XMP it. That's the only reason I'm saying that. If you don't plan to get it tuned, I usually don't recommend going that high. Because some motherboards can't handle it unless like you tweak it a little bit. 7950X and 4090 1200 watt power supply. Yeah, that should work. You could get 1000 watt if you want, but 1200 watts safe. How do I know if my system is overclockable? Usually most are. If it's not, then like if you're planning to get like a tune or something, like we usually just give you your money back if it's not. But like usually most systems are. Like on Intel, you could tell. On Ryzen, you could tell by the X. On Intel, you could tell by the K. If your CPU has a K in it, then that's overclockable. Ferraris, yes sir. Yo, can I send a message on your Discord chat? You mind if I read it and help me right now on your Discord and chat? So you have a problem with virtualization. So the reason is why you're enabling virtualization. So virtualization's for like if you're running some kind of like it's not for gaming, like really. That's like for like running like a Windows within a Windows on your PC. It's like for Docker and stuff like that. So is there a reason why you're enabling virtualization? Does your all-inclusive optimization come with a warranty? Oh yeah, it does. So all of our optimizations come with a 10-day warranty. So like if anything happens within those 10 days, like we got you covered. 600 horsepower off the box, capable of 850, 900, easy running, more boost. Yeah, Slash, you know it. He knows it. He knows it. What's up, everybody? Yo, what's up, J Money? I think Intel KF CPUs don't have an iGPU. Yeah, KF CPUs don't have an iGPU for sure. Thoughts on a bill will be a 4080. Arctic. Okay. Is this DDR4? Is this DDR4? No, DDR5. Yeah. Looks like a solid build. The G skills, I'm gonna get back to you on this, but I'll go to the 7200 or the 6400 team group because I know those could get higher. If you want XMP, then G skills for sure. Western Black, probably not this. I'll probably go with Samsung. Evga, good. Fantex. Yeah, these are good. Boom, Fantech. Yep. Yeah, it looks solid. Looks solid. Boom. Best 3090 Ti on the market. All of them are literally the same, Kev. Like you're not gonna see a big difference. But get an EVGA if you can. EVGAs have a warranty on it, I believe. Let's see here. All right, so I just overclocked my 12700K with a 3070. I get 700 FPS on average in Val now. Yes, sir. I just got a 280 millimeter cooler and a bunch of Noctuas. Yeah, that's very good, Dave. That's very good. Yeah, 280 millimeter could do. Yeah, 5950X, that's overclockable, demise. Is a 10900K still good? Yes, a 10900K is it's very good. I think I have plenty, I have pretty good stuff, but just don't know how to tune it up. Yeah, J Money, that's what the, yeah, J Money, literally, welcome to the chat, bro. That's every one of us right now, dude. But basically, like, just follow my guides, and you should get like most of the stuff. And if you just want like a quick tune up, you don't want to go through all that work and stuff, you can just visit sensequality.com and we got you. Yeah, I tried, man. I can't figure it out. I just connected with a new power supply, so I had to disconnect and reconnect the PSU cables. If I get a 4080, do you think upgrading my 5600 is a must? It's not a must. You'll be able to get away with it, but like eventually you would want to upgrade that to like a 5800 X3D or something just to balance it out a little bit. Do you think selling my 12700K build 3090 for 2700 is fair? I'm not sure on the numbers, Granny, to be honest with that. Like, I don't keep up with just like the resale numbers. So I wouldn't be like the best source for that. I would check Jawa. Jawa's like a good source, and Facebook Marketplace. I would check that as well. But that's a really good build. I'm not sure why you would sell that. I'd probably just upgrade your. I would sell your 3090, upgrade to a 40 series, and get it tuned, and boom, you're done. Look at your last video. Can you show great DDR4 megahertz, 4000 megahertz RAM? So the DDR4 is similar. It's just 4000 CL14. However, I don't recommend those just because, like, if you're on a Ryzen, it's definitely not going to work. It's definitely not going to XMP. If you're on an Intel, it might XMP. So I'm just recommending the 3600 because it tunes the exact same as the 4000. It's just that the 3600 will work out the box. That's it. You're going to make an FPS build Demon 2 with a 4090 for sale on the site. Yes, if you want to get on a pre-order list, then DM SenseQuality or email support@sensequality.com because we already have some 4090s coming in. Like we got some coming in. And they have not all been taken yet from what I believe. I have to double check that. But literally we have a list right now where we're calling you and stuff. But yes, like tomorrow you should see, or October the 20th to 21st is when you should see the release of the FPS Demon Build 2. It's just we're waiting for one or two more things to come out before we release it because we know those stuff are the best. What is the best driver for AMD graphics cards? 22.7.1, I believe. I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but apparently 100%. But apparently the 100% GPU usage is just a bug on Task Manager because when I go to hardware monitor, it looks normal. Yeah, Parm, like that's what I figured because my PC didn't perform any different from it. It didn't stutter or anything. 4090 doing 600 frames. Sheesh. Yeah, dude, that's insane. Maybe it's because the double A pins, then because I only connected one. Yeah, you want to connect two. Some, yeah, is 8+4. That is true, Dave. Why does my PC not run on my monitor, but the fans are in and there's a red light on my motherboard? That can be a lot of things. That might be that your GPU is not slotted incorrectly. Best 3090 on the market. Boom, boom. Right now, my 3080 Strix is using 2 PCIe with 1 pigtail. Am I losing FPS? You're not losing FPS. You just don't want to do that because that puts strain on like your power supply there and your GPU. By the way, I saw your video on the 5800 XDD and immediately ordered it, installed it, and I'm loving it. Yeah, dude. Like people are asleep on it, dude. People are asleep on the 5800 X3D. I'm telling you. I might have put a 10 generation CPU in a 12 generation motherboard. Yeah, I don't recommend doing that, Jaded. I don't recommend doing that. So the other day on Twitter, you posted a video saying, just wait. What do you mean? I can't say too much about that, Neil. That's regarding like, I guess like the new products that I'm talking about in FPS Demon, because we've been able to see pretty much like most of the stuff that's coming out. Like we've been working with people on the back end. And that's all I'm saying, guys. Like if you're looking for a new PC, like the best PC, like just wait. Like just wait and you should be okay if you're looking for the best. That was in regard to people looking to upgrade or people looking to get the FPSD, like people looking for the max performance possible. That's who I was saying that to. If you're not looking for that, like if you're not like in that category, then don't worry about it. Like you're fine. Oh no, I lost it. Oh no, I lost my place. There's a adapter with the card to use normal PCIe. Yes, I'm banned on COD and I'm gonna use the smooth first. So I need to know what bias does that. Does Z590 compatible with your recommended DDR4? Does Z590 is the Z590 compatible with recommended DDR4? I'm not sure, softly. That should be, yeah, it's a Z590. That should be. If it's using DDR4, it should be for sure. Can you use 6+2 PSU cable for the 8-pin CPU power? Yeah, no. If that's a GPU cable, you don't want to plug it into that. It should have a dedicated CPU cable. Some do, some don't. It just depends on what your motherboard does. Wait for what, the 4090 or get the 3090 Ti now? That wasn't in regards to the graphics cards. That was in regards to everything else. The graphics cards are already out, so you should be good. Yeah, you could wait for a 4080 if you want. I personally would wait. It's all I can fit right now. What is the best driver version for AMD graphics cards? 22.7.1. Do you think the 4090 Ti will have DP 2.0? Probably not. Probably the next generation, the 5090, probably will have that. Should I get a 1000 watt Gen 5 for a 4090 or higher watt PCIe Gen 4? Probably Gen 5 if you could find one, PCIe Gen 5. But the only difference is that the PCIe Gen 5 probably has the connectors with it. So like let me see if I can find one real quick. All right, Gigabit has one. Does Seasonic have one? See, it's kind of weird that Gigabit's the first one. It's just a little bit weird. I would wait. Yeah, seeing like what they've been through. Let there be light, baby. I got it. On. It was connected to the power button that were wrong. I get it on. It was the cables connected to the power button that were wrong. Yo, love to see it, Nate. Love to see it, Nate. That's the best kind of feeling right there. That is the best kind of feeling. Love to hear it. How is the 5800X 3D? How much better is the 58? It's not that much. Well, it is that much better, but like I wouldn't upgrade to it if you already have a 5900X. You know what I mean? 39 Ti's recommended bracket for SAG. I'm not sure on a bracket. It should already come with one, Kev. Did yours not? You think the 7950X plus 4090 is worth 4500? Like if you're gonna spend that much on like a PC, like I personally would go 13th gen. Like I personally would go with a 1300K 4090 and like call it a day with the best parts. But like if that's your budget, like then for sure like you should get that. I'm not sure. Like I already know which one's faster, guys. So like I'm not really focused on like the 7950Xs. I'm more focused on like the 13th gen like Intels. So I'm not sure what's like a good pricing for that yet. Like we'll see. Our site should be having that available tomorrow. So I'll check for you, Jaded, if you want. Would you run the 13th gen CPU on an old Z690 motherboard? Yeah, if you already have a Z690 motherboard and like a 12600K or something or a 12700K, yeah, you could slap a 13900K in that, no problem, easily. Let's see, Miami needs a micro center. Oh, yes we do. Yes we do, brother. You think Nvidia is gonna change the 4080 12GB to a 4070? Yes, sir, they are. Let's see. Do you recommend 1200 watt PSU with a 4090 or and a 7950X? Yeah, that's what I usually recommend. You could go 1000, but I usually recommend 1200. How do I fix when I go into the BIOS and exit and save my screen is just black when I shut it down and turn on? It's still black. Is there a way to fix it? I'm not sure, love. I'm not familiar with that like issue. Let's see. When does the 13th gen come out? It comes out on October 20th. Please and thank you. Let's see. I have an 850 watt power supply. Do you think I need a 1000 watt for a 3090 Ti? Nah, you don't really need it, Kev. The 850 watts should be fine depending on what you're playing, but it should be like for the most part fine. Yeah, this is on back order too. See, all of these are on back order. Yeah, all these are on back order. Like when they're like readily available, then yeah, I would recommend these, but none of these are available yet. Like they're all, a lot of things are on back order, guys. Let's see here. I'm getting a 6900 XT with the 13700K. I want to start streaming. I was thinking about getting an Intel QuickSync. Do you recommend sticking with the QuickSync, or should I get a 3080 and use NVENC? 3080 and use NVENC, 100%. If you're just streaming on your PC and you're not gaming, then use QuickSync. Can you check my PC out, KIRNEILL? Boom. Oh, it's time for you to upgrade. Use this as a streaming PC. Yeah, this is a good streaming PC, and then just build a new PC. That's what I would suggest for sure, for 100%. Then you should be good there. Oh, like if you're, yeah, like I wouldn't really upgrade anything on that, Zoo. Like I would put all your money and just save it up and just buy a new PC for gaming and use that when there's a streaming PC, so you could have a dual PC setup. That's what I would do. Or you could, what you can do, Zoo, is sell that 9600K and just buy a 9900K, and boom, like you automatically get more performance because the 9900K has more threads. So that's perfect. Perfect. So I think I answered everybody's question here. So I'm gonna call it a night, guys. Literally, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. If you have any questions, just come to our Discord. We have a question community tech support here. So if you have any more questions, literally just post it on community tech support, and we got you guys covered for sure, 100%. We're gonna stay on top of that. But you guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and I hope I answered like most of your questions here. If you still do, just join our Discord and we got you. But yo, you guys are the GOATs. I appreciate every single one of you. But have a great night, guys, and hope you enjoyed